Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Player's Take, episode 208. I'm your host, Justin DeSimone, joined by my co-host, Montrell Rice. Montrell, how are
Hey,
you?
what's up? All right.
Doing good? Did you,
I
go ahead?
no, I was gonna say I do have a little bit of an icebreaker. It's kind of like breaking news, but we could talk about that later.
Okay. Well, I did
Um,
want to ask you, how was your Valentine's Day?
uh, it's weird. We didn't really celebrate it because we've been traveling so much. So,
Mm-hmm.
uh,
You had
we
just
got
gotten
back
back, right?
on. Yeah, so we really didn't celebrate it too much, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
So I was playing Apex, and I was one of the degenerates playing Apex when it first launched, and I was playing Hogwarts. That's
Mm-hmm.
it.
Well, so I did want to ask you about Valentine's Day. Where do you stand on it normally? Like, is it something you're like kind of cognizant of? Um
Uh.
Do you tend to get gifts for your partner at the time, for it, or
Yes,
yeah.
I I try to. Thing is, my situation's unique. So, um, Deanna's birthday's on the 21st, and
Oh,
then my
February.
birthday's no January,
Oh, January.
and
Okay.
then my birthday's on the 4th,
Hmm.
and then before that we have Christmas, and then we have New Year's. We don't really give like New Year's gifts, but so you have like a whole almost 2 or 3 months. And then before that is Thanksgiving. So you have like 3 months of like spending a lot of money,
Hmm.
right?
Oh yeah.
So we usually like kind of splurge. Either we'll pick a day or pick for each of us, like, we're gonna splurge on, Christmas on each other, or our birthdays for each other or something like that. And in this particular instance, since we're saving up for a wedding and everything like that, we're gonna actually we cut back and we just kind of splurge on our birthdays. Uh,
Hmm.
so this particular Valentine's, I did not really do too much. Also, due to the situation that happened with my grandfather unfortunately passing, um, and I had to go out there. We didn't really do too much this year, but
Hmm.
normally I would take her out. Like I'll take her out,
Mm.
buy her flowers, and go to a restaurant or try to plan something. I would try to plan something around Valentine's Day. Uh, where we'll try to do something with each other. We'll try to plan something around each other.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, this year I did not. I did not. Everything just kind of came up really fast this year. So yeah,
Yeah, it's a weird holiday. Because I think there's a lot of people that feel like it's a very fake, um, manufactured holiday, which I definitely have a part of me that prescribes to that for sure. Because um, I you go out there. So this year, I usually get my wife flowers, chocolates, some kind of gift of some sort, and usually we have dinner. Whether we go out somewhere or pick it up, we usually eat out in some way. But one thing I noticed this year, I went out to get flowers. You usually go on the day of because what are you gonna do with flowers? Like hide them somewhere? Like they're gonna fucking die in a closet?
yeah,
But so I go to pick them up, and they're like the place I went. Like usually they're cheap. I just get like a dozen roses for like $10 or something. Nothing crazy.
yeah,
We don't do a crazy bouquet because we have a cat, so you can't get like most flowers are actually pretty poisonous to cats. So usually just stick
yeah.
to roses. So usually it's like $10 for like a dozen, and this year I go in there and it was like $23 for 12, and I was like, what the fuck, man? Like I've been doing this for years, right? And all of a sudden it's just like double the price, and obviously it's the day of. They're probably taking advantage of that fact, but because when I walked in too, it was funny. The manager was like having all the employees like move boxes of roses to the front. They had like tons of flowers, like it was crazy. So so yeah, I'm thinking about that, and then the dude, like the cards are now like insane. If you're getting like like a Hallmark card or one of the more well known brands, they're like 8, 9, $10 for a card,
Yeah,
for a fucking greeting card. You know, and then you add chocolate into that. You don't want to get some. I usually spend like $20 at least on chocolate, so You're looking at
Mhm.
like $50 for those things, forgetting about the gift, just those things, like card, flowers, chocolate, before you even start doing anything else for the day. And it's like that seems excessive to me. Um I feel like companies are like playing games a lot more recently. And this was just like the latest example in my life that I noticed where something that normally, is a certain price is just suddenly ratcheted up for like double the price for no reason. And it's starting to get on my nerves a little because it's happening with everything. It's not just like, Valentine's Day. It's like happening with all products. I'm sure many of you notice this, when you're out and about buying stuff, and prices have been raising for the past like year. All these companies blaming inflation, the war in the Ukraine, whatever example, COVID, whatever
Yeah,
whatever thing
yeah.
they can blame to justify raising prices. And I just think it's all bullshit. Like I think they're just raising prices because they feel like they can raise prices.
Well, there
Um,
are a couple of articles, like,
mhm,
actually from economists, like, top economists saying, like, we don't actually need to raise prices of anything.
mhm,
There's the inflation is kind of a self-made,
yeah,
man-made, like, it's not really a thing that's going on.
yeah,
Like, it was a thing right after the pandemic, yes,
yeah.
but now we're 2 years removed, almost 3 years removed from the pandemic, and, yeah, it's not really a thing, and companies are just taking advantage of it at this point, so, yeah.
Yeah, what do we even do as consumers though? Because like groceries is a perfect example, right? We all have seen groceries go up like crazy. And what do? Not eat? Like it's like I don't even know how you fight back against that kind of price inflation, in certain areas. Obviously with types of products that are like hobby products and things like that, you can just not buy it, not partake, but there's certain things that are necessities, food, clothes, whatnot. It's like and like I don't know what we as a society do about it, but it's just something that's getting on my nerves because um as I've kind of progressed in my career financially, like these things all started happening as I made those strides, and it just feels like I'm just getting like pulled back down to where I was like 5 years ago, you know, and it
Mhm.
like kind of sucks. Like it feels like I haven't gotten anywhere. And it's I don't know. It's just the thing I've been thinking about. That flower thing was like on my radar. Like was crazy. I've been going to
Yeah.
this place for years and it was always $10 for a dozen. And then suddenly, oh, this year for whatever reason, $23. Yep, okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think I think social media has exacerbated that as well. Um, because like you always hear like these disasters going on, and then like, oh, because of this disaster, all this stuff is gonna go up, like the egg disaster, right?
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure that shit used to happen when our parents were like younger, but I don't think their prices went up because it was like contained to the local news or whatever.
Mhm.
But now since social media, we're all aware of it, and they're all can they take advantage of that awareness and say like, well, this is because of this, and that, and third. So I have been hearing about flower prices. I mean, flower prices always go up around Valentine's Day. Um, like I was gonna like send I always get like random flowers. I don't do it on Valentine's Day, but I do it randomly throughout the year. I deliver flowers to Deanna randomly, and I usually do it through DoorDash because you can do that.
Mhm.
But it was like $100 or $150 on Valentine's
Oh my
Day, and
god.
then I checked today, and it's back to $50 how it normally is. So I'm like, what the fuck, Like it's crazy. So,
Yeah.
um, I don't know. It's just weird. Even when I tried to do DoorDash, or we actually did Grubhub some food on Valentine's Day, but they were trying to like upcharge for since I had the Grubhub like member plus thing or whatever. If you have Amazon, I didn't get charged for it. But if you weren't like a Grubhub member, like they were charging crazy prices to deliver food and
Mhm.
everything. It was ridiculous. So I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah, things are like that everywhere. I mean, I'm seeing it with, magic and things like that as well. So it's just, all these companies are trying to maintain or expand their profit margins however they can, and usually it's through volume, but now it feels like they're trying to do it through price expansion or price increases
Yeah,
as well. And yeah, I don't know. I don't know where it stops, because if we just keep buying this stuff, they're just going to keep doing it, right? We're just teaching them that there's no resistance, So, but anyways, this is a video game podcast. For those of you who haven't listened before, this is our weekly show where we talk about video games, video game news, and other topics pertaining to video games. We post at 6 a.m. Central Time on Fridays on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, and your favorite podcast app of choice. And if you'd like to send us questions, you can do so on Twitter at The Players Take, or you can send us an email to theplayerstake01@gmail.com. All right, Montrell. So you had a little topic here you want to talk about before we get into what we're playing. You want to get into it?
Yeah, thank the Lord. It's a glorious day. The CEO, Susan Wojcik, I can't pronounce her last name. I'm just gonna say
I don't know. No, it's
yeah,
it's it's like a Polish. I think it's a Polish name. Or
yeah,
something.
it's a Polish name. I don't want to butcher it, so I'm just gonna say Susan W. Stepped down from being the CEO after 9 years of being the YouTube CEO, and we all know the last 9 years of YouTube have been fucking terrible. Do you want to get on my lap, bro? You can if you want to.
Oh, is there a
I'm
kitty
sorry, y'all.
spotting?
Yeah, it's fucking Silas. Come on. There you go. All right. But yeah. So I'm happy about it. I am scared what the new CEO is gonna do. I forgot his name, but he's getting you know, he's about to become the CEO. Hopefully he changed some things because I know for a long time the policies for YouTube. I've been watching YouTube for a long time, like since fucking '06. I think this is actually the worst I've seen YouTube. Uh I don't know if you feel the same way, but the algorithm shit, uh,
Mm-hmm.
just like old YouTube used to be like a very discoverable place where you just go and you can go
Mm,
down rabbit holes.
yeah.
You can't even do that anymore because of the algorithm. And
Yeah.
sorry if you hear somebody rubbing against the mic, it's Silas. Um, but yeah, it's just I don't know, it's really annoying. Uh, and on top of that, like I had to turn off certain things like history and everything to like get rid of the algorithm because the algorithm would try to make you be one person that you're not. So like obviously I like video games, I like
Mm-hmm.
guns, I like shoes, and I like cars. So now before I turned the history off, it was like, ooh, Andrew takes Manosphere fucking videos like, oh, you're a red pill hard body guy, and I'm like, bro, what? Like, what are you talking about? Like, I don't like this shit.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, top 10 moments feminists got owned. I'm like, bro, I'm a feminist. What are you talking about? Like, I don't like this shit. Like, so it was just like trying to box you in the corner. And I know she's like responsible for pushing all this shit and for like the subscription model, for all the subscribers and not subscribers, but the content creators getting flagged and everything like that. So it's like, yeah, I'm kind of glad she's gone because
Mm-hmm.
a lot of shit changed under YouTube. So I don't know how you feel about that, but I just wanted to be a little icebreaker and
Mm-hmm.
talk about YouTube a little bit because I mean it's a very important platform.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I I've been watching YouTube as long as you. Um 2005, 2006 sounds about right. Um and I just I'm not on it that much anymore, to be honest. There's very specific channels that I follow, and that's really it. I don't the rabbit hole thing that you mentioned is something that I used to do often actually. I would just I just see a video in the sidebar that looked interesting. You jump into it, and then you see another one, and another one, and another one, and another, and on and on and on. And that's honestly how I discovered a lot of things that I like. Over time, over the last like 15 years, but I don't really do that anymore. To your point about the algorithm, that it just is so curated now that it's like I'm watching a video about Hogwarts Legacy review. I'm not looking for 15 other videos that are a fucking Hogwarts Legacy review. I'm fucking watching one,
yeah,
like
exactly.
I don't understand the thought process with some of this stuff sometimes, and then the political stuff is so fucking insidious, dude. That I fucking hate
Yeah,
Google. I fucking hate what Google's done with this shit. With the because the internet now is all over this shit, all over the place, dude. Every website you go to does this stuff. Like they'll fucking like go into your cookies and like look at shit you've looked at, and then they'll curate the page based on that stuff. And
yeah,
it's like so fucking annoying, man. Like I just want to like go to a site and look at stuff in a natural, organic way. That's my problem. It's not organic. There's nothing organic about the internet anymore. You know,
Exactly.
it's
Yeah,
all
yeah.
it's all manufactured. It's like it's they're trying to appeal to you when that's not what I'm there to do necessarily. I'm just I want to explore and see what I can find, you know. It used to be a frontier, you know, like the internet to me used to be just like a wild place that you could go find whatever, dude, some random thing, and then all of a sudden you might find some new thing that you like, you know. That hasn't happened to me in a long, long time, you know, with it.
Yeah.
And it's just a sad, like, lost thing, dude. I feel like like you're saying, this woman's tenure with YouTube, I think YouTube has had a huge influence on a lot of this stuff that we're talking about, because they did it first and they did it clearly. It's successful to some degree. I just don't really partake in it, but I think I'm in a very, very, very small minority with that, you know. I like am very particular with what I go on YouTube to do now. And I don't think most people are like that, with the way they consume it. So I don't know. I mean, the thing is, it's too late. This is like a proven model. I don't think YouTube's going to massively change. The things that might change are their policy on copyright, things like that, that maybe, you know, will help creators in certain ways.
Yeah.
But I feel like things like their advertising model, you know, the algorithm, things like that, I don't think you're going to see major changes with that stuff. And to be honest, the advertising on YouTube has gotten fucking horrible, man. Like, I just when you're using the app, on certain devices like mobile, or especially on the PlayStation, like PS5 mobile app for YouTube, dude. Like, if you're trying to play a video, because we usually use my PS5 to do like ambiance or background music when we're playing board games sometimes. And
Yeah.
the last few times I've been doing that, dude, we like, I would just find like a 3 hour long, you know, epic fantasy music video or something and just play it for, you know, 3 hours. And there'd be an ad at the beginning and then there'd be an ad, you know, at the end. And now it was like there's like an ad every like minute, dude, like on some of these videos, you know. And it's not being set by the channel. Like, it's something up with the PS5 app, you know, doing that. And it was so annoying that I just shut it off. Like, I'm not what's the point of this? I'm literally, the ad, like the video I'm watching is getting interrupted by 30 seconds of video of advertising every freaking minute, you know. It's like you can't even like get into a rhythm with the music. So it's like, I don't know. It's to the point that I've like thought about getting YouTube Red, which is exactly what they want,
Which,
you know. But yeah.
yeah, unfortunately, I've been a YouTube Red subscriber for since I was grandfathered in from the Google Play.
Mm,
Um,
okay. The thing is, I'm a very principled with this stuff, right? I've,
mhm,
like, for instance, like the roads in Texas, right? We're a big like toll road state in Texas. Like, we have toll highways all over the place, right? And they have expressways and all this stuff, and you pay money to go into them. And I have been very principled about this since I moved here, and I've kind of gotten more. I mean, I'm not going to win this battle, so I've kind of like backed off this a little bit in more recent years because I value my time more than my principles, I guess. But why I always like had an issue with this. I would just use access roads to go places where there was an expressway, because I'm like, why would I pay money? Like, why am I going to justify your decision to use my tax money to make roads that I can't drive on unless I pay you more fucking money? I'm already paying you for those fucking roads. You know, it's like it's it's
yeah.
it's fucking bullshit. So it's the same thing with YouTube Red. Like, why am I going to pay you money to take away an experience that you literally made fucking worse? Like, I don't like, it's like bullshit. It's just fucking garbage. Like, a company makes the the baseline experience on their website horrible for everybody, and then they introduce this subscription that makes it the way it used to be. It's like, fuck that, dude. Like, that's fucking garbage, you know. So I, I haven't subscribed to YouTube Red for that reason. I just use YouTube less. Like, honestly, that's the reality. I've just like, I go other places for certain things now, and I don't watch videos nearly as much. So it's like, I don't know. I think, but again, I'm positive that I'm in the vast minority with many of these things. And
No, I think a lot of people don't subscribe to YouTube. The only reason I got it is because I was grandfathered in, even though
Yep.
my account, remember my whole banned Google account
Mm.
situation,
Mhm.
but like I'm still grandfathered in. So I don't really, I like it because of that fact. I don't deal with the ads, but when I do sign into an account that doesn't have ads, like if I'm watching on Deanna's TV up front or something like that, and we're watching
Yep.
YouTube, like the ads that come up is like crazy. But we do like to watch YouTube for like cooking channels and like just little
Mhm.
random shit.
Yeah.
So we are like avid YouTube watchers. That's like one of our main sources of like watching TV, is YouTube. So um I don't know. I do like it for like the high content creators out there that make really good shit. But it's like really hard for like lower tier content creators. And I don't know, it's just the algorithm like kind of fucks you up. And now
Mhm.
that I gotten off the algorithm, like I figured out how to get off of it. I see a lot of little YouTube videos come up, like 200 views or
Mm.
300 view videos come up, and these are small creators, and I watch them, and like some of them are actually really good. And I'm like, wow, like this is really cool. I'm discovering this shit again. So I don't know. I just don't. I know she's not the entire blame for the entire thing. But I'm just hoping like something happens, or maybe it gets worse. But I don't know. Everyone was celebrating on the internet, and I understood why they were celebrating on the internet. So that's
I
my
actually
little
saw some
icebreaker.
people defending her,
Yeah,
saying
I
that.
saw that too.
Yeah, I saw some people saying that like YouTube in the last 9 years under her, while there are some issues, like it's such a better platform than it used to be. I'm like, man, I don't know. From my perspective, the magic of YouTube has long been lost. Those first 5 or 6 years were like a really special period of time.
Yeah,
I feel like,
yeah,
and that's like 10 years ago, over 10 years ago now, which is insane. But yeah, I miss that old YouTube. I saw somebody post like a picture of the old layout and the way the interface looked and everything, and I'm like, oh my god, it's like a blast from
It
the past.
actually look it
It,
actually looks bad. It looks really
it
bad, but
looks
I'm like, "Yo, this."
horrible. No, it looks horrible. It was funny. It looks horrible, but it brings me back though because we had way more fun on it when it looked like shit,
Yeah.
and it was like a terrible website. But it's as things get better, like this happens with a lot. It's weird. Um, that like correlation there though. I kind of correlate this because some influencers I used to watch, like they were super lo-fi when they first started, and that was like a really charming thing for them, and it was a kind of the way they built their brand over time. And now they're like they're one of the most like produced, like overproduced, things out there for video game coverage. And like they just got a new studio recently, I think, and like they use the branding that they used from when they were like in a person's apartment, and it's like, dude, you're in like an ESPN style studio. Like it's not your apartment anymore, Like
Yeah.
I don't know why you're like referencing it like it is. It's not. You're a fucking produced like news show basically at this point. It's lost all its soul, from my
Yeah.
perspective. And there's something about that, man, that it's not that things get worse when they're more produced necessarily, but they can lose their personality, and what made them special along the way. And I think that happened to YouTube. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if it gets better. I don't have a lot of faith, but there probably will be changes. It just really depends on what the focus of the new person is. So
Yeah. Understandable.
all
Yeah,
right,
that's all I have for my icebreaker. So
okay, let's move on to games we've been playing. Do you want to start us off this week?
yeah, so actually I haven't been playing High Five Rush or Fire Emblem or Engage for the past week. Like I said, I just got back, so I haven't really been touching any video games. The only games I've really been touching is Hogwarts Legacy. I did play Dead Space, the remaster or the remake, and I like it a lot. But I haven't touched it like ever since
Mm-hmm.
2 weeks ago. So a lot of these games I haven't touched in about 2 weeks, unfortunately, except for League of Legends.
Yeah.
Um, which we both were playing. We were playing it last night, and it was pretty fun. Um, we had it up and down, and I think they're doing the same thing. Their MMR is doing the same thing where we have like two shit games, and then we have two really good games, and then the MMR is like, okay, go back you're doing too good, and we're
Yeah,
gonna match you up with like crazy people again.
I'm noticing
So
that
I don't know.
more. I'm definitely noticing that more, but I still want to give him credit on it though. It doesn't feel as bad as Apex. Um,
Yeah,
it
it
doesn't.
doesn't.
It doesn't feel like we have no chance. I guess is what my viewpoint on League. Like when we play those teams where we feel like they're way better than we are. Like we were actually like pretty even with them, even though it didn't feel like it. And it just we made some mistakes, like key mistakes that lost us the game.
Yeah,
If we had just
yeah,
done
I agree.
certain things better, we might have won.
Yeah,
Even though
I agree.
they might have been a more skilled team than us. So I think that's the my takeaway with that is I still feel okay about those swings in terms of gameplay. But I think in general though we are getting better, so we're gonna start playing people that are better. Like
Yeah,
it's just gonna happen at some point too. Because I mean, dude, we've played a couple, probably 100 to 200 games at this point since we started playing hardcore a couple months ago, and that's a lot of games. That's plenty of time for the algorithm in the MMR to figure out where we slot. And I think we're we're pretty good. I'd say we're above average. Not maybe not by much, but we are. Um, and yeah, I don't know. I have been playing top a little bit while you were gone. I played top on I think it was Saturday we played. And I played that exclusively. I did play started playing set a little bit, and then I had a few Yone games also. Um, uh, and I like both the characters. Yone is he's fun, man. He's just fun. I see why people play him. I know he's like a really toxic character that like the community absolutely hates. And I get why they feel that way. Because he does absolutely like busted damage when he's kind of winning, in his lane, and he gets ahead of everybody else in the game. But um I think he's pretty balanced though. Like I don't like playing him. I don't feel invincible or anything like that. It's like I'm killable. Like absolutely. Like you really honestly with him, it's really important to hit his skill shots. If you don't do that, you're not gonna be very effective in the fight at all.
yeah,
And that means for the opposing team, you need to be very aware of your positioning because the one Yone game I played with you, I had a really good game that game, and it was because the enemy team just was not like their positioning was terrible. Like they were lining up for my ultimate, and his ultimate groups the whole team, like everyone you hit up, and you teleport right next to them, and bang, you use your U of T has two AOE abilities as well. So you hit the ult, you're right in front of everyone, and then you hit them with the Q and the W, and dude, you've taken off probably half the entire team's health or more. Depending on
hmm
just for Yone, forget about the rest of the team. So that's kind of the thing with him is you need to just be aware of where you are, like pay more attention to that. And I think it's hard to do in MOBAs to like always be like keyed on your character versus the person you're tunnel visioning on trying to kill. But that's like a really key component with him. Is don't group up, dude. Don't group up in a line specifically. Like that's like the worst thing you could possibly do against him. If you're like chasing him, like the whole team's chasing him, dude, he'll just turn around and like all of you. And he could probably kill a couple people with that.
yeah,
So that's kind of the thing with him. Set is interesting too because we've had some sets as opponents that have given us a lot of issues, and I get him a little bit more. So he's an interesting character. I kind of feel like he's a little bit of a one trick pony. Ultimately, his W is the insane ability in his kit. That's the one that gives him the shield, and
yeah,
it's based on his grit meter. That is goes up as he takes damage. So if he gets focus fired in a fight, he basically gets 2 health bars essentially. If you try to focus him down, he will use his W, and that gives him a shield based on how much grit he has, which generally speaking, at almost all points in the game, will like almost fully give him a full health bar shield for him. So that's the thing with him, and most of his damage comes out of his W. Is because he does like a frontal cone AOE attack, and if you there's like a line in the middle of that cone, and if you hit people within the line, his attack does that attack does pure damage, and it's based on how much grit you have as well. So if you have a full grit meter, He can totally swing like a pendulum all the way back in his favor, just with his W, forgetting about QER, like just that one ability if he hits it right. So it's kind of key with him to hit that skill shot. That's like his big thing. The rest of his stuff just kind of complements him and kind of gets people in position for him to do that. But yeah, that's what I noticed with him is the same kind of thing. If you don't want to be you don't want multiple people on him. That's a bad situation with him too, because his E is kind of a attack on both sides of him, and it's front and back of the way he's facing. So if you're in front of him and behind him, there's two characters. He'll use the E, and then he'll pull them towards him, and he'll stun them both.
Yeah.
If he hits two people with it, like one on each side. So, and this works on minions too, though. That's why he's effective in lane. Because if you get a minion and a champion between him, he'll stun both as well. So
Okay.
that's kind of a big part of his kit. And his auto attacks are interesting because you had mentioned to me that I think it's his right or his left hand does more damage than his right, but he has
Yeah.
a 1-2 combo whenever he does an auto. It's not it's kind of an off timed auto attacks with him. He's not like a character. His attack speed's kind of weird as a result. So he'll like say you're attacking. You have like a 1 second. What you do one attack per second. What
Mhm.
he does is 1-2 attacks every second, basically. So it's like two quick attacks in succession with his autos, and his Q
Okay.
just empowers the next two attacks. So it literally just empowers your next
Oh.
auto attack. Um,
Okay.
so you need to be careful against him in lane as a result of that, because if you go on him, he can literally just Q bang bang. He definitely did more damage to you than you did to him, like guaranteed.
Okay. Yeah, and the
Because
trade wouldn't be worth
the
it.
trade's not going to be worth it. You need to stun him, hit him from range, like poke him. You want to stay away from him. That's like the key with fighting against Set. And
Okay.
his ult is that giant like suplex fucking slam on the ground that he does.
Yeah. Yep.
That one is interesting because he grabs one character, but he can take someone else with him if they're next to each other. And then he'll bring them both and slam them on the ground, and then he can use his E, stun them both, and then he can W them both. And I mean, they're probably dead if he does all that. But he's very much about lining things up in a very specific way. So positioning against him is also really important, because if you could avoid his W, he's more than likely not going to be able to kill you, because that's where most of his damage comes, especially late game. Earlier on, his Q and E and R do a good amount of damage because everybody's got low health. But as the game progresses, those abilities become way less important, or way less effective for him as a damage component. It's really the
Mhm.
W, and you need to kind of be very aware of when he's about to use that. So
Gotcha.
generally. So that's just like one big hit. And the W has a long cooldown too. It's like 15 seconds. So once he uses it, he's probably dead if he didn't kill somebody with it. So
Yeah.
interesting character. He's fun though. I did enjoy
Yeah,
him. He's
nah.
pretty tanky.
Yeah, top lane is just I don't think it's my lane. It's too much stuff going on up there. And you just by yourself, and if you just mess up one time, it feels like the whole lane is fucking shut down.
It's a pendulum
Sometime.
lane. It's a pendulum lane, dude. Because the thing I'm noticing when I play it is I either do terrible or I do great. And that's like the way it always seems to go with that lane a lot of the time. Because it feels great when you're winning, but it feels terrible when you're not. Because
Yeah.
once you're losing, you can't get back ahead, unless the other person does something really dumb, and really screws up. So
Yeah.
it's a rough lane, but I like it. I like the characters in it. So that's one of the reasons I think I really want to start playing it. Because
Okay.
playing Yone was super fun. I got ahead of the top laner, and dude, I was bullying him so bad. Like I was just obliterating the creep waves. I wasn't even letting him in to get like CS. Like it was bad, man. I was so ahead of that dude. And his jungle was not coming to help him. So when you're in that situation, there is nothing that other top laner can do. Like, I would have to like sincerely do something dumb like tower dive, and let the tower kill me or something.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting lane, for sure. There's certain characters that are better than others too. It's funny because like Gwen is like a terror, or has been a terror for us in many games that we played. But I was playing Yone against her at one point, and this is what's nice about switching the lanes up. You kind of learn some of these characters a little better. Like Gwen's
Yep.
actually not that bad once when you kind of get the understanding of what her abilities do. Because playing as an ADC, I never go up against Gwen 1v1, so it's not like I don't know what she does necessarily. I learned what she does. Her one of her abilities is like that like really fast burst of attacks, but it's in a straight line. So if you and it doesn't lock you down or anything, so if you just walk out of it in the middle of it, it doesn't even hit you. And so this is what I was doing to her is she kept trying to use it on me, and I'm Yone, so she kept trying to use it to me. I would back up, get out of it, and I would W her because the W has a longer range, and then I would walk up and Q her, and I just kept doing that over and over and over again. She couldn't do shit, dude. Like she was like doing nothing to me. So it got to the point. It got to the point where she started using that invulnerability field, and I just would walk out of it. Like I'm like, okay, cool. I mean, great. I just go back to CSing. It's like, I mean, you're at half health. I'm at full health. Come back. I'll just do the same combo to you over and over again. It's like it's so there are like it feels like there are counters to these characters. I got to play more of the game to learn some of these characters that are like have been really frustrating for us, like Nasus, Viego and shit like that. I got to understand them better because I'm sure they have counters too, or ways to
Oh
play
yeah,
around
yeah.
them for sure. It's just I don't know them. I'm not familiar with them enough to do
Yeah,
that
after
stuff.
I played Viego, he's not as intimidating as he once was to me
Yeah.
because I've been playing him and I see his weaknesses and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Same with like Zach. That's why I was playing Zach a little bit. Uh, and Mokai, I just think Mokai is like he's still kind of busted even after I was using him.
Yeah.
Um, he does way entirely too much damage. Him and Poppy just do a lot of fucking damage.
Yeah.
To be tanky.
Yeah.
So I mean, there are some combinations that are just busted. Unfortunately, I think that Rod of Ages combined
Oh my God, Swain.
with
Oh
Swain
my
is
God.
is insane. That's actually the first time I've seen that, and I forgot they reworked his R to where it can go almost indefinitely.
Yeah.
So combined with the Rod of Ages, he just gets almost infinite R, and it's ridiculous. His
Yeah.
alt rather.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm pretty sure there's a way to stop that. I think you can if you stun him, it stops his R. I think.
Mm-hmm.
But it can't be a root. It has to be an actual stun. So, or knock up rather. A knock up, I think it stops it as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I'm still having fun with the game. It was frustrating, but we ended up on a good note yesterday, so I'm having fun with it. I might start getting back into ranked. I'm not too sure yet. There's still some stuff they gotta fix for me with jungle. Um, but I'm kind of like pigeon-toed into jungle.
Mm.
I don't really feel like teaching other people how to play it. I know like Andy wanted to play it, and I'm like, I just don't feel like teaching you like. And I know
Well,
he's a grown man; he can figure out himself. It's
yeah,
just
that's what I was gonna say.
I
I think you just need to let us play. I guess
okay,
these other
yeah,
roles. Like if you're in the group and you don't want to play jungle, or somebody wants to play jungle, just let them play it. Let them figure it out. We're gonna lose probably, but it's fine. If we do that, like Andy plays jungle, I'll just go play top, and we'll have a bad game, surely. But we
yeah,
need to learn these things though, because I'm like my experience with top. We need to have that for multiple people with other roles.
yeah,
Like we need like Andy understanding junglers better would help him in bottom lane. As a support.
yeah.
So I think we gotta start doing that a little bit more because yeah, I'm just finding out like like it was interesting playing Set. I think he's a really powerful character. We've seen him be really powerful, but like playing him, I kind of understand his weaknesses now. And like one game I was playing against Olaf, dude, and Olaf fuck set up. It's like not even a fucking contest. Like, dude, it's
Yeah.
if you miss your skill shots with Set, you're fucking dead. Olaf's gonna kill you. Like it's straight up. You have no chance. Early game at least. And he was like terrorizing. So it's interesting to see these matchups too. Like what characters what other characters do these champions struggle with, and that's kind of an important component, I think. And it expands our repertoire too. It's like playing top. I think it's really good. I think everybody should probably play top. Honestly, I think anybody that plays League should play top because it teaches you so much about lane positioning, like because you have no choice but to learn it. If you do not and you suck at it, you're gonna die constantly, like all the time. The second you get out of position and you're a little bit behind, like on your HP against your lane opponent, dude, they're just gonna go on you. Like that's what they're gonna do because they've got an advantage, you know. And then suddenly you're in a melee, and it just comes down to whether you're better in that melee than your opponent. You know, it's like so it's a really good lane, I think, to kind of put yourself through a boot camp of learning the game, even though it's hard and people are going to be mean to you, I'm sure, in solos. But I think it's probably the best lane to start with if you're gonna like if you really want to learn the mechanics of a MOBA. Like top is good because um it's rough, but you have no choice. You don't have anybody helping you. Like the jungle might come help you occasionally, but it's not like bottom where you have a crutch where you have a support that can save you, you know,
Yeah,
or
yeah,
cover for you when you're out of the lane and your tower's getting pushed, you know. Like you have
yeah,
to understand these things as top, dude. Like you can't go back to base when the other top laner is pushing the lane in. You're at half health and he's at full health. Like you can't necessarily go back to base. Like it's risky, but he'll take like 3 platings off of you and get a huge gold lead. So it's like you have to understand these things, and I think it's just like a really good lane for players to play to kind of get a baseline fundamentals in the game a little bit better. So
yeah. No, I agree. I mean, I will start doing that. Like, I would just start voicing my opinions on. So I just been trying to let y'all cook for a minute and get used to it. But
yeah,
like you said, we're like 200 games in. I
yeah,
think people want to play other lanes now.
hmm
I probably want to go back mid or bot now.
yeah, yeah. And if you want to play
So
bot, dude, I'll just play top. Like that's fine.
yeah.
It's totally fine with
So
me. Um,
but I still want to practice in jungle as well. So I don't know. It's just I gotta get good again. I took a step back from the thing, playing it seriously. So, but
mhm,
now that I'm getting back into it, I'm having fun. Uh, yeah. But
yeah, yeah. I think
same with
our
like Apex Legends. Like I've been doing the same thing, just
mhm,
trying to get back into it. I actually like a lot of the changes they made to Apex Legends so
mhm,
far. Um,
yeah,
I don't know. They did. So our experience yesterday was uh common. I should say it wasn't uncommon.
yeah,
So there is something going on with the rank system and the matchmaking right now. It's kind of bugged, especially for console players.
yeah.
Like I was playing console by myself and I was getting PC players.
Mm,
And that's not supposed to happen unless I'm playing with
interesting.
PC. My friends are PC. And they were PC hackers. So the people that were hacking into the console lobbies were hackers, and they were. I was wondering why I was just getting fucking mowed down when playing by myself. And on top of that, like I said, the rank system's kind of messed up right now as far as matchmaking because they are doing all those changes.
Mhm.
So they're supposed to be working on it. I don't know, but that's my Apex Legends spiel. But I think it's the changes to the legends, I'm actually liking that. I'm loving it. It's the rush down meta again, as well as before. It was like the camp meta. Even though yesterday there were a couple of campers, like I was getting hit by people sitting under stairs and standing behind doors and shit like that. And I don't know where that came from, but it's back.
That
So
was
watch out
weird.
for
Yeah,
that.
dude. That was weird. Like almost like micro camping, I'd call it, you know, like
Yeah,
camping for like 30 seconds, you know.
yeah,
And I yeah, we did run into that multiple times in our matches, and that's not Apex. It's a little frustrating to run into. Cuz yeah, I hope it's a fad or something cuz um definitely an annoying way to play the game. I'll
yeah.
say that much.
I'm not
Uh,
trying to play PUBG. So
yeah, right, exactly.
But lastly, I've been playing Hogwarts Legacy. So disclaimer, not the biggest Harry Potter fan. Like I said, I only watched Harry Potter 1 and 2 or Harry Potter Sorcerer's Stone, and then what's the second one? Prisoners of Azkaban?
Um Chamber Secrets.
Chamber Secrets. Yeah, I only watched those two. Um so
Two of the
I'm not the
best
biggest Harry
ones
Potter
actually.
fan. Yeah, I actually like them a lot.
Mhm,
But as I was playing the game, like a lot of the lore is coming back to my head.
mm,
And I don't know. I like the world that J.K. Rowling has created. I think she did a really good job world building for this world.
mhm.
Um, I mean, it sucks that she created it, I guess. I don't know. You can have your opinions about the author, but
Yeah.
like I
Yeah.
like the world that she created. It's really
Mhm.
cool. The game itself, as far as an RPG, it reminds me of
Yeah.
a Mass Effect in Hogwarts. Like that's what it is.
Mm.
But you're a kid, like you're a teenager, you're a preteen,
Yeah.
or you're a teenager or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I mean, uh, it has like elements of The Witcher, it has elements of Mass Effect, has elements of Dragon Age Inquisition. Uh, I mean, I like it. And the world building is definitely there. You have to go to class. You have to learn certain to do certain spells. You have to go to class. You have to meet the requirements of the class.
Mhm.
Some of them are fetch quests, and some of them are like use this spell 2 or 3 times, or use this potion, whatever, and then come to class, and then I'll teach you how to do, diffuso or something like that. So, I like it. Um, and that being said, everyone calling this game trash definitely lied to yourselves. I'm not
Mhm.
even a Harry Potter fan. I'm like,
Yeah.
this shit is lit. Like this shit is nice. I love this game so far. Um I
Well,
love the world. I actually feel like I'm enthralled in the Harry Potter thing and Hogwarts and stuff like that. I don't know, it's just really cool. Um you see the descent, you see the ancestors of some of the characters in the movie as well. So I think that's pretty cool as well. I
mhm.
recommend it to anybody or whatever. There was a couple things with Harry Potter that we were talking about today in the group chat, and I guess this will lead into the next thing. Has the crusade against J.K. Rowling gone too far? Uh,
Yeah.
and I say yes. I think me and my cousin actually were talking about it over the weekend. If he's listening, I told him about the podcast. He said he's going to listen. Um, but yeah, if he's listening, yeah, hi Junior. But yeah, we were talking about it, and I mean, I agree with like a lot of stuff he was saying. I just think the Crusades against her is going too far. I think the Crusades against like I think now is a time, like we said last week or week before last. I think we have to start separating the art from the artist.
Mhm.
Because this is getting ridiculous. This was actually one of the most ridiculous crusades I've ever seen. To where I remember I did a lot of research on it now, and the tweet that she's saying that everyone's saying that she said like, oh, if you're paying, if you're buying my products, you support my cause or whatever the fuck she was
Mhm.
saying. She said someone said something to her, and she said, well, the checks speak for themselves, or the I can listen to what you have to say or something like that, but then my royalty checks come in or whatever. So she's pretty much saying like, I'm still getting money. Like,
Yeah.
really fuck what you got to say about me or whatever. And
Yeah.
it wasn't saying if you support my product, you support my opinions. That really wasn't what she was saying.
Yeah.
So I looked that up. I didn't see any tweets where she wished death upon trans people. Um, and I did watch a couple of streamers, like this really popular streamer Hassan Hanabi. He was actually willing to stream the game and donate the money from the stream to
Yeah.
trans organizations, like helping trans people and
Mhm.
especially younger trans teens and everything of that nature who are like struggling with themselves or struggling with their identities or whatever. And people were against that, like wholeheartedly against that. And then people were like, okay, well, if I buy the game, how about I set up a link or whatever where you donate $60 instead of you buying the game, you donate $60 to a trans cause or whatever. People are against that. Like, people just wanted to be mad. And I don't get it. Like, when people are offering good solutions to the problem or whatever, or trying to help causes that you're trying to bring awareness to,
Mhm.
I don't understand why you are constantly against it. And that goes to the thing where the internet just wanted to internet at that point.
Yeah.
Um, they just wanted to be mad at something. This, and I understand boycotting, and I understand uh all that stuff. But at this end of the day, like the game had massive sales. It's probably one, I think, almost like one of the best selling single players of this year or the last couple years. I think only tied to like Elden Ring.
Yeah.
So it's like
Yeah, it's
uh
the sales have been nuts. The concurrence on Steam, they broke the record that Apex set. Cyberpunk. Oh wait, no, not Cyberpunk, but it has higher concurrence than Apex, the latest Call of Duty. It was 880,000.
Yeah, and I think it was like 1.3 million on Twitch or some shit like that.
Yes, concurrent. Yep, concurrent viewers.
Yeah, so but the game is actually good in that regards. Talking about just keeping it onto the game and everything like that.
Mhm.
But I think outside of the game, but this is still within gaming, I think we need to take a look at the culture of gaming as far as we have journalists who we go to for gaming news and that we're supposed to trust their sources, and they're telling us they can't, whether you say this is a good thing or a bad thing, they're telling us, oh, we can't review this game out of in good faith because of
Yeah.
J.K. Rowling's transphobic tweets and stuff like that. And it's almost like, so you can't do your job. Like, I've been on, and I'm pretty sure you can attest to this. I've been on job sites, and I've been in situations to where, people have been rude to me at work or said something really out of whack. And it's like, yeah, I would like to say, you know what? Due to you being rude as fuck to me, I am going home right now.
Yeah.
And I just walk out the door. I don't have that luxury to do that.
Yeah.
You know?
Not a realistic
And
reaction, unfortunately.
yes, exactly. You have to do a job. Whether someone says something rude to you or not. Now, there are limits and there are steps you can take to get, to kind of rectify those issues and stuff like that. But you just can't do that. And I feel like a lot of these outlets were just, I don't know if they really felt this way or
Dude,
they were
it's performative.
baiting.
No, it's
Yeah, it's
performative. I'm
performative.
sorry. Like, okay. I'm
It's a lot of virtue signaling, and
yes.
it really showed.
Definitely.
It really showed his ass, particularly with this game. And it's not just because it's Hogwarts Legacy or the trans phobic tweets or transphobia in general. I don't think it really has anything to do with this community. What I'm talking about is just in general. I'm tired of the virtue signaling that's going on. Like, it's almost like I'm going to sound like super conservative when I say this shit, but keep that shit out my video games, bro. Like, I'm getting tired of it to this point now, where it's like it's on both sides, to where if you see a black character in the game, everyone was like, "Oh my god, the game's fucking woke," and it's like, just because they added a black character, it's woke. And then it's on the other side where it's like, "Oh, you didn't add this character, so now you're fucking racist, and or you're this phobia or whatever." And it's like, what? Right. So, like, for instance, Dead Space was a perfect example of that. They showed 3 people on the bathroom stall for, like, all people included for the bathroom. And the right-wing media of gaming lost their fucking minds over the shit.
Bro. Yeah.
And I'm just like, bro, what has happened to gaming to where it became like this? And I mean, we can take it back to Gamergate, but it's like, I'm tired of it now. Like, maybe because I'm old, I'm tired of it, but I'm completely fucking tired of it, bro. Like, I don't know.
No, I'm
sorry to cut you off a couple times, but yeah.
I'm 100% with you. I am tired of it as well. I'm weary. We've talked about things like this on this podcast, and I think every time we have a similar conversation where it's just frustrating. I think, I don't know if right now at this point it's not just gamers. Did it start with gamers? I think it may have, honestly.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of that comes from the media within games because of who they are and what they try to represent. But I think the crux of this, to me, at this point, is there's just way too much out there of people, and I think Twitter and the internet and social media has a lot to do with this mentality. But I think there's just way too many people out there that put too much. I don't even know how to explain this the right way. Like, you are putting somebody's moral fiber, like, tying it to the things they buy and experience and like, And I think there's just way too much of that. It's like Hogwarts Legacy is just a fucking product, okay? You can either buy it or you cannot. If you buy it, you're not a transphobe. If you don't buy it, that doesn't mean you're a fucking trans ally. Like, stop putting these, like, these stop putting meaning like that onto the purchase of a fucking product. It's a goddamn video game. It's 30 to 50 hours, and like you're just playing a fucking game. You're running around fucking Harry Potter world, you know? It's like the game, the biggest irony with this one too is the devs clearly don't agree with J.K. Rowling. Like, there's fucking trans character in the game. There's like diversity all over this game, you know? Like
Exactly.
it's so that's the part which I think we did talk about this is the consequences of trying to boycott this game is that you are affecting people who may agree with your opinion. You know, it's like fucked up, man. Like and the funny part though is that it didn't work. This is going to be the best selling game of the year probably outside of maybe Call of Duty if there's a Call of Duty game. Like
Or Zelda that's coming out this year.
or Zelda, yeah. This is going to outsell Elden Ring. This is going to outsell Cyberpunk. Like this game is going to be huge. It's already on its way. It's probably already sold 10 million, like which is fucking massive for a third party game like this. So I think there's just it's become so frustrating that every issue gets boiled down to this two-sided argument of you're on this side, you're this. You're on this side, you're that, you know? And and I think the other thing that frustrates me about Twitter is it's this bubble where everybody balloons the importance of social issues relative to anything else. Because there was a fucking earthquake in Turkey that was like one of the worst things we might have ever seen, you know, in the last 200 years. And
Yep.
I bet you that most people online screaming about this game don't even know it happened because no one was talking about it. What were they doing? This happened on February 6th. Everybody's screaming about Hogwarts Legacy, J.K. Rowling, you know? And it's like, there's like horrible shit that's been happening. There was this, the fucking train derailment in Ohio.
Yep.
That is like a real fucking issue. Like, barely anybody's talking about that either. It's just, like politics is multifaceted, okay? Social issues are important. They're absolutely important. And there's something we should all be cognizant of. But there are other things out there that are also important as well. And I kind of got into this with my brother last week. We kind of had a back and forth. It wasn't heated or anything. It was very like it was a good conversation.
It was very mild.
Yeah, it was a good conversation, but we clearly don't agree because he's struggling with this game. Like he wants to buy it, but I don't think he's going to because he wants to make that statement against J.K. Rowling. And I just kept trying to say to him like dude, I just don't think I don't think you doing that has the meaning that you're giving to it, you know? It like J.K. Rowling's never gonna know. No one besides you, me, and whoever else you tell is ever gonna know. And I get it. It's like a principled thing. And I was talking to you earlier about, you know, my principles about like, you know, YouTube Red and like fucking paying to drive on highways. Like, you know, there are certain things that all of us have that we care about. And maybe this is your thing. And that's fine.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that, you know? But where it becomes a problem is when you're like a missionary in the fucking 1600s trying to turn fucking Native Americans into Christians. Like that's what you're like, you are a zealot, like literally a zealot in the modern day. Shut up. Not everybody wants to be a part of this, dude. Like, not everybody in the world needs to be a part of this, even though I know you feel like that has to be true. Like this is a war. This is a culture war that we're fighting. But
yeah,
it's only a culture war because you're making it that way, you know? It's like if you were reasonable and like approach this in a much more friendly, reasonable way, I bet you there would be more people who would actually take your side on it, you know, and like support the idea of trans rights. But since this has become such a black and white, you know, good versus evil type thing, you're like galvanizing people. You're pissing them off because they're not transphobes, and you're telling them they're transphobes for buying this game. So guess what? They're just saying, "Fuck you, dude. Go fuck yourself. I'm gonna buy 4 copies of this game." You know, it's like
exactly,
and they're not doing it because they're supporting like anti-trans rhetoric. They're doing it because they want to make a point to you. Like that's literally it, dude. Like that is it, and you don't get that. Like,
no, you're making a good point. So like that's the issue I have, right? The issue I have is this situation first of all, I have trans fans. I have trans fucking family members,
Mhm.
and they're all good people. In this situation, in my opinion, especially online, and like the right is just like using this as a weapon because you got like even if you have like certain issues that are on the left, like for instance, like a lot of people on the left don't like guns and stuff like that, so they
Yeah.
use certain issues to amplify those and make that people who do like guns or people
Mhm.
on the right who like those look bad. So I feel like it's the same thing with this situation. People are using this situation to amplify and say like, see, we told you about those trans people, like, and it's like
Yeah.
now the situation has gotten really out of control to where y'all are doxing people and y'all
Yeah.
making y'all
Oh,
making
yeah.
yourselves look really bad.
Yep.
So it's like
They're attacking
it's like
people that are allies. Like, it's
exactly
crazy. Yeah. Like,
it's
I don't. Yeah.
crazy. And this situation, I don't know, maybe it's since 2020. I've had my whole world rocked since 2020 as far as like advocating for certain social issues and stuff like that. I used to be a person who like, yeah, social media is like a really good tool to advocate for social issues and bring awareness. And it is. But ever since 2020, I've seen like the the virtue signaling and like the performative shit. Like I was actually out there in the streets protesting, right? When the protest for
Mhm.
George Floyd was happening and everything like that. I got arrested and everything. I've seen people get pepper sprayed, and I've seen people try to stop other people from looting. So I was out there in Dallas. I was out there in Arlington and everything protesting. And uh to come back on Twitter and see the narratives that people who are on your side, the shit that they say is just so weird to me. I'm just like, wow. So that's what this is bringing this back to me on as well. It's like the shit that y'all are saying when people are offering like help to you and everything like that. Like, okay, we'll donate to this organization and everything like that, and all this shit like that. Like, that's why I got so mad. Like the Black Lives Matter organization, people were donating to that organization, and it turns out like a lot of it was scams. Like a lot of it was being used for scams, and then like it was a whole big performative thing, and everything like that. And I still believe in the slogan Black Lives Matter. But
Mhm.
anyway,
Yeah.
uh uh it's the same thing with like this here. Like people like don't buy Hogwarts Legacy, and it's like, all right, bro, have you donated to a trans shelter for kids who are running because their parents can accept them from being trans?
Mhm.
Have you donated? Have you done anything to the trans community besides type online? And then you will see that I ask certain people, and they're like, well, I'm actually too broke to donate right now. All right, you can donate $10, man. $10 will help somebody. It'll help somebody get a new pair of shoes that ran away.
Well,
You know,
maybe get off
you know,
Twitter and go make $10 doing something and
yeah.
donate that. You know?
Then donate that. Like do something that's actually worth a damn. Like, yes, you're sticking it to J.K. Rowling and her transphobic tweets or whatever, but like, it's really not buying this game. Why aren't you buying any other products? You already bought the movies. You saw the movies. You probably still own the books.
Mhm.
Go burn the books or something like that. I don't know. Like people are still going to Harry Potter World and Universal Studios. Like it.
Well, it's. I think the other thing too is the moralizing. It becomes an easy finger pointing contest because
Yes,
if you're on Twitter on your iPhone talking about people being a transphobe for buying this game, well, guess what, dude? Like, you bought a device that was made with slave labor,
I
so
was I was just gonna say that
like,
and I said that on Twitter, and people were trying to argue with me, saying like, "Well, it's actually different." No, the clothes that you have on your back, bro, they're probably from child labor, bro.
oh my
Like,
god, yeah,
you
or
know,
slave
oh,
labor, like literal slave labor in China,
yeah,
like,
literal slave labor, or you're eating organic stuff, right? Oh, guess what? Somebody had to pick those fucking berries, bro, and I guarantee you, it's cents on the fucking dime, on the dollar for their labor.
you
They
know,
were getting paid under wages, like so. Where does it stop? So we just stop living. That's what you're
right?
telling me at
Yeah,
this point.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
and like there are better ways to do stuff, yes. But it's like, where does your moral compass stop? You're not gonna shame me for buying Hogwarts Legacy or shame anybody else for buying Hogwarts Legacy uh for doing this. And like, I'll be honest, I also too hate the people who are like, well, I'm gonna buy 5 copies to owe it to the libs. And it's like, bro, shut the fuck up. Like, shut up, bro. Like, there's people saying this shit and they don't even know who like Harry Potter is. They ain't never played video games in their fucking
Yeah,
lives.
we
And
have
it's
a
like,
We have
Yeah,
one friend who bought this game, and it's making
yeah,
me
and
laugh
it's
'cause I don't think he's ever read any of the books or any.
yeah, and it's like, bro, you never play any of these games, or
Uh,
you don't even play single player games.
mhm.
So it's like at this point,
You know
like,
what though?
just
This is to that point though. We coexist with this friend, okay? Like, it's not like we're like we hate him or anything like that. Like, we're friends with him. He's a good friend of mine. Like,
yeah, exactly.
I don't necessarily judge him for these choices that he's making. Like, I don't know. Like, we have to stop like doing like putting these lines in the sand. Like, oh, our friend buys Hogwarts Legacy. You have to unfriend them. You can't be friends with them anymore. Ah! You know, it's like what we did with Trump, right? If you voted for Trump, people were just like disowning their
Oh my,
families and shit. You know, it's like
that's what, you know what, that's what's giving me. It's giving me PTSD of
yeah, it is.
2016 when he
It is.
won.
It is. Yeah. No, it's what it
Um,
reminds me of the most for sure. Because I remember all those tweets, man. There were so many influencers that I
oh my god.
followed back then that I don't anymore because they were losing their minds about Trump winning for number one. But then the days would go by and they're like, oh, I went home and oh, everybody in my family voted for Trump and I can't coexist with these people anymore. You know, it's like I have to cut ties and it's like, man, dude, like, wow, all right, it's so easy for you to just like cut your family out. Like, you're a really great person, you know, like that's interesting. um,
Yeah,
so I don't, it, I think it's all performative. That's what it comes down to me. I think most of
yeah.
this stuff is not real. Like these aren't real. People convince themselves this is how they feel, but I don't actually think when you sit down and talk with people, like the things they say on Twitter are really how they feel.
And, that's what I was saying. Like someone was coming at me really crazy today
Mhm.
because he was trying to. I know he was trying to be funny and like supportive and stuff, but it was actually like quite racist what he said. And I was like, yo, you kind of sound just as racist as the person you're trying to like call out or whatever. And then start calling me an idiot and everything like that. And I'm like, bro, you wouldn't say this to me in real life, and I'm not going to insult your intelligence and everything like that. So don't talk to me like this. Like I talk to people online, how I
Yeah.
talk to people in real life,
Mhm.
because you never know
Oh,
where
except on
those people live at. You say what?
except on League.
Oh, yeah, on League, then yeah, I talk hella shit. Like I don't fucking care about those people. Those degenerates just like me. So like,
Yeah.
but like I talk to people like that on Twitter and social media and stuff like that. Like I talk to them in real life or
Mhm.
whatever.
Yeah, me
Um,
too.
so it's like I don't know, just like there needs to be a bar. There needs first of all, dialogue needs to be open again. And then second off, like I'm almost to the point where I'm like, keep the politics out my video games, but like I said, it's not just the left doing it, it's like the right side of the spirit doing it
Mhm.
too. Because
Oh, for
every
sure.
time, I swear to fucking God, if I see another black woman on the cover and I see somebody say, I substitute woke for just the N word at this point. Like, just say the N word, bro. Like, just say it. Like, oh, it's woke now. Just say you don't like black people. I don't understand at this point, bro. Just say that.
Well,
Like,
you were talking about that in the chat today about, orcs being correlated with black people. And
yeah,
I didn't like get I had like one comment in there cuz it is true with Warcraft, but
yeah.
I mean, some things about Warcraft lore, right?
Oh yeah,
Um
yeah, yeah.
there's actually like a somewhat of a real correlation there though. Like it's not just a manufactured thing, in the Warcraft universe. Like so I don't have a problem with it there, but in general though, correlating orcs with black people, like that's probably a bridge too far in most things, Like Lord of the Rings orcs, I would not compare to black people. Like I don't that's that it's like that's not there's not a correlation there. Like the lore doesn't line up with that correlation.
Well, for the long, like for context for people, I asked today. I didn't know for the longest that goblins were Cathars for
Jewish
Jewish
people.
people,
Yeah.
and I didn't know that for the longest. I swear to God, I didn't know that shit, and I didn't even add the two up. And to my and my point was like, well, is that kind of racist of people could kind of make that leap in the
Assumption.
first place?
Yeah.
Yeah. But then people were telling me like, no, this is rooted like way back in history and everything like that. So I don't know the history, so I ain't gonna get into that.
There's a lot of fantasy worlds where goblins are the money race. They're the ones who run
Yeah.
the banks. They're the ones who, and um, while I get that, at the same time, it's not like 100% true in all things. I think Harry Potter is like one of the looser versions of that kind of thing. Yeah, sure, they run the banks, but I don't know. They're not. It's not like it doesn't. I don't feel like it goes that far beyond that. It's just
Yeah.
kind of a shallow surface level
Yeah.
similarity.
And I guess that's another point like I was trying to get to is like, I mean, we write fiction based off our reality. But at a certain point, it's like, where do we get to like overanalyzing shit? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Mhm.
I don't know. I just feel
Bored.
like,
We're bored. We're bored.
yeah, I feel like a lot of people were overanalyzing. People are like, well, they've been actually talking about this for 20 years, Montrell. They pointed this out already, and I'm like, all right, cool. When I watched Harry Potter like a year or two ago, I didn't instantly think, oh, that's a Jewish person. I was just like, oh, it's a fucking goblin. I see goblins all the fucking time.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I didn't see that shit in my head or whatever. The only thing I was like fucked up about was like Dobby and shit. I'm like, bro, these house elves are getting fucking fucked up.
Well,
Like,
the
what the
house elf
fuck?
thing was funny because somebody in the comments on something I was looking at where they were like, this is a world where there's a slave race that's happy about being enslaved, and I was like, Jesus Christ, because the house elf thing is super fucked up in the like lore of Harry Potter, and that never really gets resolved, which may or may not be bad writing, but at the same time, it's actually a huge component of like the later books, though. It's
Yeah,
really important. It's through the vehicle of Dobby, and one more house elf, as well that they encounter, but actually two more house elves that they encounter, but it's it's a huge part of the story. So I don't necessarily think it's not like it's ignored. They're not just happy to be enslaved and they're just like they're just part of the universe. It's like no, like one of the absolute primary main characters, Hermione. That's like a humongous part of who she is. Like she fucking hates that status quo and fights against it any chance she fucking can. So it's a thing that is somewhat addressed. It's not like wrapped up in a nice neat bow necessarily, but I think that's part of the reason why I like Harry Potter, though. There isn't like some things, there's not like a happy, perfect ending. It's like the world, like Harry's not like fucking Jesus. He doesn't fix every problem,
yeah,
in the
yeah,
world. And I think that's part of the reason I do like the story, in some ways, because he is like a savior figure and obviously does crazy shit, but like the world has problems outside of Voldemort. And that's kind of the same thing I was saying earlier about there's multiple facets to the world. It's not just this one issue is not the only thing that matters at any given time.
yeah,
So we just have to. I feel like everybody just needs to calm the fuck down, take a step back.
yeah,
These things are not as important or crazy as we're saying. I'm not saying trans rights aren't important. What I'm saying is Harry Potter, Hogwarts Legacy specifically, whether you buy it or not, is not that important of an issue in the grand scheme of life. Like you're gonna forget about this in a few weeks. Once this game's out of the news, you're not gonna talk about it anymore. You're not gonna care about it anymore. You're gonna move on to the next fucking thing.
I'm pretty
And
sure some of y'all gonna buy it used and play it anyway. So I mean, let's
probably,
just be honest.
probably.
Like, let's just be honest.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Some
I
of these
think the whole
people might have
argument is,
already bought it, dude. That's
yeah,
the
I'm
other
pretty
thing.
sure a lot of them did already.
I don't believe all of you screaming about this game aren't playing it. I don't believe that. I really do not believe that.
I don't know. It just really rubbed me the wrong way because this makes gaming as a whole look bad. Um, I think both sides of the argument look really fucking bad. Um, I don't know. It just became really political for no fucking reason over a fucking wizard game. Like
It's just because
people are
it's her.
flying on
She's like a
brooms.
lightning rod, dude. At this point, anything she's involved in is this is the conversation around it now.
Yeah, and
So
I get that, and it's just like she's a terrible. Like I don't even think she's a terrible human being. I just think her fucking points are misguided. Like I
yeah,
don't know. It's you know what? I don't like her points at all. I don't agree with none of the shit she says at all.
yeah, she's like
Um,
your racist grandma that says
yeah,
offhanded shit.
unfortunately,
You
like
know?
off,
Yeah,
yeah, and it's like I don't agree with none of the shit she says or whatever. But you gotta leave her in the past. Like she just left in the past, and you gotta some people you can't change, and I've learned that, and I've learned to live with it.
She's
But
in her
for
like
video
50s. She's
games,
in her 50s. I mean, yeah, I don't think I don't think the goal is to change her though. I think they want to tear Harry Potter down and like destroy it, you know, to
I don't
get
know, but
back with her. I think that's the goal.
these are like people like in that case, then stop supporting Disney because Disney like funded Nazi propaganda, back in the fucking 50s and 40s or some shit. So it's like destroy Disney, but everybody loves Disney stuff. You know what I'm
But
saying? So it's like,
that's not in the zeitgeist, Montrell.
all right, but that's what I'm saying though. Like, how far does it go?
That's what I know.
How,
That's exactly the point. Is we can do this all day. We can point out these hypocrisies all fucking day. The entirety of American society is built on these hypocrisies, bro. Like
yes,
from the jump, since the country's inception. Like the whole existence of this country is fucking like built on that kind of
insane.
hypocrisy.
It's
So you
it's
either live with
crazy.
it or you don't. If you can't live with this stuff, why do you even live here? Go move to Australia or Canada. Like,
Yeah, we can do better. We can learn from that stuff in the past and do better.
yeah.
But I don't know. I guess there's just a limit of like what you can do, what things you should protest and boycott and everything like that. I don't know. Anyway, I just want to play my video games. That's it. I just want to play my
Yeah,
video games.
I true. Yeah, so we've been on this
Like
for a while too. So,
yeah,
anything else you want to say about the game itself?
yeah. But the game itself, like, is really fucking good. I recommend anybody to play it. I didn't want the I didn't want this issue to overshadow it, but it kind of did. But I'm glad I played it. I'm glad I'm playing it. I'm glad I really didn't listen to the hoopla because I am thoroughly enjoying this game. Like it's really
Mhm.
fucking fun. So
I need to get it. I haven't gotten it yet.
oh, you haven't gotten it yet? I thought you bought it.
No,
Yeah, it's really good.
I'm kind of broke right now, so you know
Ah, okay.
my gaming fund is broke at the moment. So I'm gonna get it soon, probably. I might get it this weekend because I have a couple days off this weekend, so I'm gonna have some time, and nobody can hang out and do anything this weekend apparently. So I'm just gonna be fucking sitting on my ass playing games most likely. So I may get it this weekend and start playing it. I've been looking forward to this game for a long time. I mean, I've wanted this specific game, like a Harry Potter open world game RPG, for so long, dude. So it's encouraging to hear that it is good. And this studio, Avalanche, their studio that made like Disney Infinity and some other stuff, and they're no slouches. So it's good to see them kind of flex a little bit. I'm kind of excited to see what they become here in the future because they're clearly a big team for WB. So we'll see
Yeah,
what they do in the future too. But moving on in terms of what I've been playing, just League, like we talked about, Apex, which we played a couple hours probably on Tuesday when the patch came out, and it was or was that yesterday? I don't even remember. These days are I can't even keep track of them anymore. But when we played, it was fun. I like. I think I can get back into this game. Um, I'm the game feels better than it did. Uh, Certainly, I don't think things are perfect, but I think at this point, I'm at the point I put the game down for a while, you know. And the fact that they are really endeavoring to do something here, like actually fix this game, and make big changes. Uh, Now that they're in it, I think I'm willing to come back. And play the game again. So we had some good games, a lot of good combats, good fights. I don't feel as rusty as I should, probably, or at least I didn't the other night. I was doing fine for the most part. And I think the matchmaking felt okay mostly. There was one game where we ran into a Pred squad, I think, but I think they were cheating, like legitimately. So that one, I don't know if I'd lay that. Well, I mean, the hacking, I definitely lay at the feet of Respawn, but yeah, but overall, I think it's good. I think they added a new gun, which feels good. I like the class changes for all the characters. That is actually a really cool thing now. Like Valkyrie is a scout character, so she can scan recon or survey beacons, I think they're called, and reveal enemy positions on the map. But it also reveals her, like where she is, also to those enemies. And that is a really useful. That's a really useful tool. a lot more useful than finding out where the next ring is. As much as that is valuable, I feel like it's something that most of the time doesn't change what you're doing very much. But yeah, it's interesting. It's cool. I like the fact that you were playing Wraith, I think, right? So you could see what was in
Yeah.
like care packages, and you were calling that
Yeah.
out to us, which was really cool.
Yep.
And then Jet is playing Loba, so he can buy respawn beacons for people in the crafter, which is a really cool thing too. So I think the changes so far, I'm pretty positive on them. Um,
Yeah, I actually like it because everyone has a role. Like it kind
yeah,
of felt random
yeah,
with the couple of previous version of Apex, but this one like you can make a team and have a strategic team, and I like the way we play. So
yeah.
we just got to get back into it. So
Yep. Maybe we'll play tonight. After we're done. And then other than that, just playing Genshin. I have officially started the fourth region and gotten into the main story in that region, and I've actually gotten through 2 chapters already of 5. And I'm digging this a lot, so much more than Inazuma. Like this region so this is Sumeru. It's the fourth region. Each region in the game is kind of loosely based on a real life culture. So this one is kind of based on the Middle East, and some parts of Egypt as well are in there. And this is a really fucking cool area. It's so the main thing in this zone is there's a basically an organization called the Academia, and they are all about like scholarly pursuits. Which I did read up about this. This is like a real thing in like certain uh, Muslim societies or Middle Eastern societies. They're very much about education, and it's like a huge thing with them, like in terms of status and whatnot. And that's reflected in the game. Like this organization basically is the government, but they're also like a huge research organization, constantly doing research on certain topics and things like that, and trying to understand the world better. And that's their whole society revolves around that. And it's a really interesting thing. So the second chapter was like a really cool, almost like a bottle episode within the game, but it was really well executed, and I enjoyed it a lot. Like it was probably 3 or 4 or 5 hours maybe total, but it was a really cool concept that the game hasn't like done before. And I can see the developers actually kind of starting to try to do different things with this game, because Inazuma largely felt like an extension of what the game already had, but it was like even worse than what the game already had, which was like super discouraging for me, because I was kind of concerned that like, is this game just going to get worse? Like, is it getting worse? But no, I think Inazuma hopefully is just kind of a one off. It's just something they didn't execute properly, necessarily, because this zone so far is fucking awesome. I love it. Exploring it is great. The environments are beautiful. The new enemy types are really cool. There's a lot of really interesting locations. The puzzles in the zone are a little bit more in depth too than some in the past, as well. So I'm having a lot of fun with it. I'm gonna keep getting through it. I'm just trying to catch up. I'm almost there. I'm getting close now. I'm probably not that far off from being done with all the story content. But um, so yeah, I'm playing that, and then Fire Emblem Engage. I've like really slowed down on this game the last week or so. I'm at the point where I think I'm just gonna start blowing through the story, because the grind in this game is not that fun. I think what they did with this, they made it too grindy. If you wanted to like kind of do a lot of the side activities in the game, and by that I mean like leveling up all the emblems with your characters and learning the emblem abilities, requires an absolutely asinine amount of SP. And to get the highest level version of a lot of these skills, you need 2,000. And I've been playing this game for probably 30 hours or more at this point, and most of my characters might have 2,500 SP, so they can get like one ability. It's like that is like super grindy, man. So I'm kind of like, and a lot of it isn't necessary, at least in the main story so far. So I think I'm just gonna start playing through with like a power team and just start killing the game, because I kind of want to get this one finished and move on to some other stuff. as much as I really like the game, I just the story is like totally not good. Like it's just bad Fire Emblem for the most part. And even the battles, the story battles, you start fighting the same boss enemies like over and over and over again, and it's starting to kind of like wear on me a little bit. Like you're just fighting the same enemies over and over. You know, it's like there's not even like they're not even introducing anything new with some of these fights. You know, it's like so as much as I like the game at its core level, I think it does flag a little bit here in the later stages. Um, and because I think I'm on chapter 18, I want to say. So I think I'm just gonna start blowing through it. That's kind of my plan right now with it. Because I think I really do want to play Metroid Prime, and I think I'm gonna finish this, get Metroid Prime. That'll be my Switch game, and then I'm gonna play Hogwarts Legacy on PS5, and I think those are gonna be kind of my two games outside of the multiplayer stuff in Genshin. So that's kind of my plan right now for the short term.
Okay,
But
sounds good.
all right, that's all we've been playing. Let's move on to the news. We don't have a lot to discuss this week, but we did want to talk about. So this actually happened a couple weeks ago, but we didn't talk about it last week because we were covering the direct specifically. But there have been an absolute ton of live service games shutting down in the last few weeks. And just kind of wanted to talk about this in general. Like, do you think this means anything for the industry, or do you take anything away from all these closures?
So I've been thinking about this lately, actually, and I got two takes from it.
Mhm.
Or I can look at it two ways. So recently, if you've been following the economy, this is an economy podcast, but whatever. The Feds have raised interest rates, so
Yep.
a lot of the money that was being borrowed and everything like that, before when they were just like kind of giving out money, especially during the early 2020s,
Mhm.
um, all that's like dried up now, and a lot of this stuff has to be paid back, or you probably got your money's worth from it, or whatever. And a lot of these games, in my opinion, have been live for about maybe a year. A couple of them have been alive for a couple years, but you need to pay people for these servers, and I'm assuming server prices went up drastically and everything like that. So I think that's one aspect of it. People just don't want to pay for these servers anymore. And I think another part of it is, um, yeah, like these games are cash-ins. It's a fad. It was a fad, in my opinion. These free to play games and everything like that. It's almost like you remember the Korean MMOs that popped up everywhere, like during the World of Warcraft phase when everybody had a fucking MMO and everything
Yep.
like that.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Yep.
to me, this is what a lot of kids are going through now. Um, they're just seeing this happen now. And we're seeing a lot of games, like a lot of people were playing a lot of these games and they're just getting shut down. So I think it's a non-sustainable model. Only the big leagues can sustain it now. And now that we've seen everyone do it, now we're starting to see like who really is about it. And obviously Call of Duty is going to stay alive, Apex is going to stay alive, Fortnite's
Mhm.
going to stay alive, in those
Dota
type of games.
League.
uh again, Genshin Impact and
Oh
everything
yeah.
of that nature.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, League of Legends, Dota, like these are the staples that are going to stay there. PUBG, Minecraft, and then all these other little ones, unfortunately, are going to die. And
Well, you know what all these games have in common though, the ones that are big?
what?
Um, is I'm gonna be honest here, they're quality. Like they are quality games at their
Yeah,
core. They are quality games. Like none of those games that you just mentioned, or that we just mentioned, are bad games. Um, there are frustrating issues with them, and I think Apex is the closest to being on that teetering on that edge. And clearly, we've seen that in the last few months with the way the community kind of left the game and maybe is coming back now because they're actually trying to fix shit.
yeah,
Finally, dude, this is a highly competitive space. And just to name a few of the games that are shutting down: Apex Legends Mobile, Battlefield Mobile, Knockout City, Rumbleverse, Crossfire X, Echo VR, just to name a few. And the thing about this is like it's kind of interesting because we play these games, like me and you and our friend group, right? We play Apex, we play League. We played PUBG. We played Fortnite. You know, it's like so we played a lot of these games, and I think the thing is they just suck up all the oxygen, dude. I just don't think there's room. You know, it's like there's a handful of these games and they're big, and but they suck up all the oxygen in the conversation, in time, and everything, and money as well. Because I think about like Knockout City. That's the one that's like the dodgeball one. I remember
Yeah.
when that came out last year, and I looked at it and I'm like, damn, this looks pretty fun. And I did see some buzz about it when it came out, but did I ever go download it and play it? No, like not really. I'm playing Apex. You know, it's like and now it's like I'm playing Apex. I'm playing League. I'm playing Genshin. Like I don't have room for another one of these. Like
Well, that's just
especially if
like
you
my
guys aren't gonna
point.
play it. You know, it's like so.
Yeah, and that's my point. Like I like a lot of these games are Rumbleverse and everything. Like my friends, like my other friend group was trying to get me to play these games. I don't have. I'll play like Fortnite with them, but I just don't have the mental capacity to add another game to my repertoire right
Yep.
now.
Learn it.
Um,
Download it.
yeah, it's just like I just don't have the mental capacity for it. I think a lot of people are like that with these games, and I mean we've seen this be happen before. We're like seasoned gamers. The problem is I don't think the younger crowd has seen this, or nor do they know the history of gaming as a whole. Whereas like we've seen these fads before. We've seen everyone try to be the next Unreal Tournament. We've seen everyone try to be the next Halo. We've seen everyone try to be the next Call of Duty. And like we see all these
Mhm.
games sprawl up and then they die again. I mean, remember fucking enemy front or front lines? I bet no one remembers that game. That was supposed to be the Call of Duty killer, and that
Yeah.
game fucking died.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
remember Killzone, and people would defend Killzone to this day. Remember Killzone? Yeah, those
Yeah.
are the same guys who make Horizon now. That was supposed
Yep.
to be a Halo killer. Like these games prop themselves up, or we have all these games come up and then they just die out. And back in, if you think it's a new phenomenon, it's not. Back in um the Genesis era, the N64, the NES era, there were so many mascot platforming games, like so many fucking mascot platforming games that came out that you probably even heard about. You got Cool Spot. I mean, Rayman's still alive. He's still doing his thing.
Glover.
Um, Glover, you have fucking Blinks, even
Yeah.
though that's in the Xbox era.
Yeah.
Like you have all these games, these mascot platforming games that kind of just came and went. I mean, they had a good run. They tried to revive some of them, like Ratchet and Clank. They tried to revive it, and in my opinion, I haven't played Ratchet and Clank Wild Rift or Into the Rift. I heard it's a really good game, but like, what happened to Jack and Daxter? You know what I'm saying? Like, all these games are just dead, and that was a fad at the time.
Yeah.
Like, and same thing with Super Smash Brothers. You got Brawlhalla, which is surprisingly doing okay. Multiverse lost 99% of its player base on Steam. So,
Yeah,
like,
the
and I'm not
Nickelodeon
making
one
that.
never had
Yeah,
1% of that
never had a
number.
chance in hell, actually. And it's like, and I didn't make that number up out of thin air. That's an actual
You want to
number.
know
They,
why? You want to know why these fail? They're not Super Smash Brothers.
yeah,
Like Super
exactly.
Smash Brothers quality is just so high. The bar is so high. You can't get there. You know, it's like you're not going to get there. So when you come out and you're like 40% as good as Smash Brothers, people are going to pick you up and they're going to be like, "Oh, this sucks. I'm just going to go back to Smash." You know, it's like, and that's what they do. It's and I think it's the same thing happening with all these games, man. And that was the thing with like we were talking about MMOs with World of Warcraft. World of
Yep.
Warcraft was that, for like 10 years, and all these MMOs kept trying to come out and be different and do something, or their clones were like fucking a dime a dozen, with MMOs trying to clone World of Warcraft. And it's like, bro, why would I play your stupid, shitty clone of World of Warcraft when I could just go play World of Warcraft? It's like these
Exactly.
fucking stupid. And it's like looking at these screenshots of like Rumbleverse, Knockout City, they just look like Fortnite. Like they just look like Fortnite, and it's like, why would I play your game when Fortnite is here and is better, established, it's been here forever, it's supported forever. I don't have to invest myself in a game that might die in 6 months. It's like, I think that's the other aspect of this that people don't talk about a lot is it's I think it's something that a lot of players think about is whether your game will still be here in a year. I don't want to play a game that I think is going to go away in a year, you know? Like Genshin Impact is a great example, right? Because dude, like that game has a long future ahead of it, right? Right now. It's only been out for 2.5 years. And I think it probably has at least 5 more years to go. Probably. Might even be more, if they keep supporting it the way they do. Because, dude, the audience in that game is growing. They're making more money now than they were making at the beginning, you know? That is crazy. That's fucking nuts. That does not happen for gotcha games generally. And you want to know why though? Is because the game's quality is insane. Like for a game of its type, And all these clones have tried to come out, like Tower of Fantasy, and there's this other ones that like Genshin Impact clones, and they all suck total dick in comparison. Like they're not even remotely close to good, you know. And that aspect that your game is going to be around is appealing to people because they feel like their investment of time and money is not a waste. If I spend money in Genshin, I will have access to this stuff for a long time. It's like it's not just going to go away at the drop of a hat one day in the next 6 months. They're not just going to shut Genshin Impact down. It's not going to happen. So I can take an extended break and come back and all my shit's still here. Like that's a big component. I think that's something a lot of players take into account. Like, dude, if you troll Reddits for a lot of these games, that is an important component, dude. It's like because I've seen threads discussing some of these other games, like Tower of Fantasy, for instance, and things like that, and people are reluctant to even get into it because they don't think it's going to succeed enough to be around.
Yeah,
Um,
and I think that's just my point, like with this whole thing. That's why I wanted to talk about this. It's like
yeah,
I'm so tired of what happened to like creativity, man. Like
yeah,
and we see it time and time again when the industry just sucks it up and then spits it out. Like we see something unique come out like fucking Halo, or we see something unique come out like fucking Call of Duty or whatever, or we see something unique come out like Genshin Impact, or you know those games that have cultural impacts, Fortnite and everything. And you may not agree with it. You may not like. I don't like Call of Duty like that anymore. I don't like. I like Fortnite's okay, but they're revolutionary in what they have done.
yeah,
With the atmosphere. PUBG was revolutionary as far as like. I mean, you could say like DayZ was the evolution of that to PUBG, but that was revolutionary. Like the first huge. It wasn't the first battle
PUBG was the
royale, but
establishment of a genre.
this
Like,
yeah, the establishment of the genre, and it's still going, but it started off a genre where we even said, I called it. You remember we called this like way back then. We're like, oh my god, everybody's coming out with a fucking battle royale, and we saw this whole slew of battle royales come out and die the instant time they come out, and only last like
yeah, they were
a,
dead
some
within
of
a
them.
month, couple months. Some of
Yeah,
them.
within a month, or like some of them didn't even come out when they were announced,
Yep.
or whatever the fuck. And it's like we see this all the time, and I think the problem is, like I said, like we sound like old men yelling at clouds, like Homer's Simpson's dad on the fucking
Mhm.
Simpsons, and we're just yelling at clouds, and it's like, but we have a point. Like the point is, this shit happens, and if it's even worse for these games because these games are getting wiped from history. Like, so there isn't like a history of these games being told anywhere. Like, saw the failures of these games. Like even for the MMOs, those games are wiped from the internet. Like we can't find those games at all. Uh,
Yeah.
and like there's no way to tell the history, or like look at investors, or tell gamers, or even like the new developers coming up, the newer developers coming up, like they think they have this really cool idea, and it's like, bro, we already tried this. Like we tried this 10 years ago. That's not actually, like, look at the history and try to make something better off this.
Yeah.
um
Yeah.
uh, I mean, we had so many examples of this within the last 10 years. I mean, Destiny, right? Mind blowing when it came out, as far as like what it can do for the industry, uh and having a 10-year plan. That's the only game I know that has, it's almost on course with their 10-year plan. I think Destiny came out in 2015, 2016. They're like 3 years away from that, 2 or 3 years away from that.
Mm.
And they've been out, and I don't agree with the game. I don't like what the game's become, but they have their fan base, and they have a solid fan base. But then we saw all these other live service games come out: Outriders, Avengers,
Mm.
fucking the newest game that's about to
Vision.
come out, The Division, and then we have the newest game that's about to come out, which is fucking Suicide Squad, and it's
Mm,
like,
yeah.
did no one learn from their Gotham Knights? Did no one learn from their mistakes? Like, I don't get it.
Well, we
So,
got that. What the fuck's the Redfall also
yeah,
from
Redfall.
Microsoft, and then Sony. So I did want to talk about this in context of Sony, right? Sony's following this fad now. They've announced, they announced they want to release 10 of these fucking games in the next like 5 or 6 years, and um, I don't have a high expectation that most of those are going to survive very long. They might get one. I could see them getting one, but
But
anything
all
beyond that, I
that
think is an unreasonable expectation.
all that wasted money, and I
I know
love multiplayer
they
games.
could have
It's
made fucking
single
9
player.
Last of Us's in that time, It's like
Exactly.
with that fucking money. It's crazy, man. No, I totally I agree.
And you know what? That's why I'm glad Hogwarts is doing so well. So I'm glad Elden Ring's doing so well. Hell, I mean, as much as it fucking sucked, I'm glad Cyberpunk's doing well. These
Yeah,
games are showing people that there's a fucking huge yearning for even for these young gamers that they want single player experiences. Like
yeah.
this multiplayer shit, this live service shit needs to. It, it's just not where it's at. I don't know.
There's just not room for all of you. Like
Yeah,
that's the
it's not.
reality. Like if you're gonna be derivative, and make games that are similar to other games that are already out, you're gonna lose. Like unless your game is of such a high quality bar that it's on par with the other game you're being derivative of, that's the only chance you have. Like you're if you're buggy, you come out and the servers are a mess, and your fucking monetization is predatory, dude, you're done. You're fucking done. People are gonna dip in and they're gonna dip right back out.
I mean,
Um,
look at
so
a staple like Halo. They
right,
came in
yeah,
and
right.
fucking failed.
And you
Like
want to talk about
they
derivative? How derivative was that battle pass? How terrible was that battle pass? That's exactly my point. Like it's like fucking Halo. It happened to Halo, man. And
exactly like an established IP
why
that
do you think
almost
your
everybody knows.
your fucking dodgeball game that looks like Fortnite has any chance? It's like I don't. No offense to Knockout City, like it looked like a fun game, but I
Yeah.
mean, really though, like I don't know, because I don't know. You have to make a unique idea. You have to make a unique idea. And like I'm gonna point to a game that came out a long time ago, but is still going strong right now. Rocket League. It's
Oh
a
yeah.
really that's a
That's actually
that is a super unique game, and that is and it's fucking incredibly made, impeccable quality. Like that's the reason that game's still around. It's unique. It's something interesting. Like it's a- and I think if you don't have an idea like that to put into gaming, like in this live service space, I think you have no chance. At this point,
yeah. I
you
mean,
just don't.
RC cars playing fucking soccer. Who would have thought of that shit?
But it's
It's crazy.
awesome. It's a fucking awesome
Exactly.
game. The only reason I don't play it is because none of our friends play it. Number one, but number two, that's such a veteran community at this point playing that game. Like, bro, like that game is hard, man. Like learning how to do the aerial tricks and stuff. Like, you have to be fucking like super good at that game.
Mm,
It's a game you fall out of practice of, and you will get wrecked when you come back. That's the only reason I don't play it. But I think it's a phenomenal game. I fucking love Rocket League. It was so fun, dude. Like I loved it. But yeah, it's like, so unless you have something like that with that high of a high quality, like I just don't think you have a chance, man. Like in the first person shooter space, like all the major types of games are spoken for. You have your cartoony Fortnite, you have your realistic PUBG, you have your some semi-realistic Call of Duty, and then you have your cartoony but like hyper arcadey Apex Legends. Like what's left? Like what other space is there for a
yeah,
shooter?
exactly.
It's like there isn't anything unless you have something unique to bring to the table. Like I don't know, like fucking Vanquish or something, like a Vanquish battle royale. It's like that might turn some heads, but no one's
Well,
making that,
even
man. Like
well, people were upset, right? They were upset, like, because I said a status yesterday about Harry Potter, not related to J.K. Rowling, but people were saying like, "Oh, I wanted to buy Harry Potter until I found out it's single player," and it's like To me, that is the craziest thing you can ever say. I think I think multiplayer only players do themselves a huge disservice compared to
Yeah,
like single player only players, right?
yeah.
Um, it's a huge dichotomy where people are like, well, there are people who just play only single player games. They don't go to multiplayer. And I think that's just so different, in my opinion,
Well,
because I play both,
you're
right?
playing you as a single player gamer, you have no choice but to play multiple games, like different games. As a
Yeah,
multiplayer gamer, you could play the same game forever, you know? Um,
exactly. And I
yeah,
just think the dichotomy is so different as a person who plays both games.
yeah,
And to say that you're not buying Harry Potter, you love everything about the game, you love everything, every single quality thing about the game. I'm not going to buy it though because it's single player. I'm not
yeah.
having fun. I'm bored. And it's like, I guess it just blows my mind because it's like because you're not playing with another person. Oh, I wish I could play in this world with another person. And it's like I wish it was a battle royale game. And it's like there was a battle royale game like that. It was called Spellbreak and it died. Y'all let it die. So it's like, what do y'all want? Like, you know what I'm saying? What are we talking about here? Like I thought
Mhm.
Spellbreak was pretty unique in the way it was a spell based magic battle royale, but it eventually just died. That one was dying in June. You know what I'm saying?
Dude, how
And it's
many of
like,
these games are there though? Dude, I'm just like thinking about all those like that style, like those like PC centric multiplayer games that have come out over the years, the last few
yeah,
years, and how many of them there are, and they're probably all fucking dead, you know? Like they're all dead.
I'm waiting for that one game that just came out on Xbox, or it just got released on Xbox, but it's available on every other game. It's like that fighting game battle royale. I forgot what it's called. Fuck. Waiting was like a fighting game battle royale. Almost looks like Dynasty Warrior style. But that's a battle royale, and it's like I guess that's unique enough, but I don't think it has the community. But it's still alive, you know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
when is that gonna? It is now. I'm looking at all these games. I'm like, when is the clock ticking? And then you see other new, free to play games like that one game they announced on the Switch, the air hockey game, and I think that game's unique enough. But it's just like it's too late now. Like everyone's looking
Well,
at these games now. It's like,
that
how
specific
long are you
game's
gonna
already dead
last?
too. Like I think we mentioned last week. Like
Yeah.
that game came out already and is dead. You know, it's like
Yep.
it's got like 9 people playing it. So
Yeah, and that's what I mean. Like, what are we going? How are we going to look at these games? Like, people are looking at games now. We're like, everyone has a live service game, but am I going to invest my time into it because I can put $10 into this game and then never get those $10 back because
yeah,
next week the game might be dead.
yep,
You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? Like, think of all the people who bought the Knockout City. I know that had a huge community, but it wasn't big enough. And think of all the people that bought the skins and everything for that game. Like, they're
yeah,
never going to get to play those skins again.
yeah.
And that's
Well,
crazy to me.
if you're a small developer and your goal to break even is like needing to sell 1 million copies of your game or have 100,000 concurrents all the time, like man, you need to reevaluate what you're doing because you're not going to get there, man. You're
Yeah.
probably not going to get there. Like that is way too high of a bar to put yourself in front of. So I don't know. I think it's. I mean, it is indicative of something. I don't know if the industry is going to learn anything out of all this. I hope it does, but clearly, certain companies are bullish still about live service. Sony being one of them. So we'll see what comes in the future. But I was thinking of like like Blue Protocol. Um, you know, it's like that game looks cool, but is it gonna have the same fate? You know, um,
Yeah, yeah. Like that game does look really cool, but at this point, do I really want to invest my time into it? Like I'm looking at, even though it's not a single player game, I mean, yeah, even though it's not a free to play game, rather, I'm looking at Wild Hearts, and I'm looking at it very hard, and it's like, do I want to invest my time into
yeah,
this?
yeah, right.
You know?
My brother was asking me about it, and he's like, "Man, it looks cool. It looks like more up my alley than Monster Hunter." And I'm like, "Yeah, but I've looked at it. I just, I,
Yeah, I'm on the fence about it too.
I'm like,
I feel the exact same way.
why am I gonna invest my time in this when I could just play Monster Hunter? Like, I don't, like I'm gonna buy this game when I already own Monster Hunter, and I can just go back and play that more. Like, I don't know.
I don't know. I want Monster Hunter to have competition.
Yeah.
Um, and this game looks unique enough for it, but it's like, is it the problem with Monster Hunter and games like it is you have to meet the bar. Like there is no sequel for you. There is this
Yeah.
game, and then there's the sequel later on.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So you have to meet every requirement that the game is, all the standards that game has already set. And if you
Mhm.
don't meet those standards and actually exceed those standards, because you actually have to exceed them now. So if you make a Call of Duty type game, you have to exceed Call of Duty now because
Yeah.
you're in that stratosphere. Like look at Battlefield.
Mm.
They've been in the lane of their own lane. People compare them to each other a lot, but they've been in their own lane for so long. And then they wanted that Call of Duty space, and now look what they're doing. They have to rebuild everything from the ground up. So I feel like it's the same thing with Wild Hearts and games like it. They just have to, if you're going to come into this space, video games are very competitive. You have to show me, all right, you like Monster Hunter, bro? Well, look at our game. Why should I look at your game? Well, look at the unique weapons you can do and all the monsters you can hunt and everything. All
You
right.
can build Fortnite forts in our game.
Exactly. So
That's
I
your
don't know.
hook. Okay, cool, great. So you're a Monster Hunter game that lets you build structures. Awesome. Okay, yeah, that's I don't whatever. Like, because I think the other thing is art style, right? That matters a lot. I think with these games too, and like Wild Hearts to me, like the monster designs are completely uninteresting to me. I think at this point, like I just like that's another reason I'm not that intrigued because all the monsters look the same, you know. Like, and I get that's like the idea, and there's probably explained in the story why that is, but it's just like looking at your game though is something I might or might not buy. It's just not that appealing, you know. It's like Monster Hunter, the monsters are really distinct from each other, and they've always been that way, you know. And it's like there is a style to it that I don't know. It's just really appealing. You have to like hit that bar, you know. Unfortunately, to be able to compete with a game like that, it's like you got to hit that. So I think a lot of people are projecting hope onto Wild Hearts, hoping it's going to be the game that competes with Monster Hunter. But I'm sorry, I don't see it. Like I don't see it. That's my opinion. I might be wrong, but yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah,
But
same.
anything else you want to say on this one?
Yeah. No, that's it.
All right. Let's move on. So, you think we could do this topic real quick?
If you want to, I know you wanted to get out of here.
It's all right. We're already we're man. I woke up a long time ago, Montrell. I started this episode super tired, and we're in it now, baby. Let's just keep going. So I wanted to talk about this because I was thinking about this a lot recently. We haven't talked about Switch in a while, but like Nintendo, we're in 2023, man. Like we're about to be at the 6-year anniversary of the release of the console, the Switch, and we know Zelda's coming in May, and then we've got Pikmin 4, I think in July, and I think beyond that we don't really know anything coming out, right? And
Yeah.
the idea popped in my head last week, like, what is the next step for Nintendo here? Like, when's the next console coming? You know, we heard all these rumors about the Pro and for years now, and it never came to fruition. You know, we got the OLED, which isn't really an upgrade, per se. And then we got the Switch Lite a long time ago. But like, what are your thoughts on this right now? Do you think this time next year we'll have the next Switch, or we'll be very close to it?
I think Nintendo's in a unique position right now, where this is the Wii all over again.
Mm-hmm.
And they do not want to fuck up. They don't want the Wii U.
Yeah.
So I understand their hesitation. But it's been, when did the Wii or Switch come out? In 2015, 2016? 2016, right?
2017.
2017. So it's been about 6 years, I believe.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe. Yeah, I mean, the games are definitely starting to show their dates or their
All right,
They're
Pokemon being example number one, right?
exactly. I think if you don't want to commit to a full upgrade, at least do a half upgrade and do like a Switch 2 or some shit like that, where it's like the same kind of hardware, but like upgraded components. You know what I'm saying? And I think a lot of people will be okay with that, but you have to name it differently. You have to make sure that it can't be a Wii to Wii U situation.
Yeah.
It just can't. So the next 12 months of Switch, I think Zelda is going to be their last hurrah. And I'm hopeful that in the summertime, um, after Zelda's released, then we get some kind of announcement for a Switch 2 or something, or our next console's coming out. They can't wait till next year. I don't think they can wait till fourth quarter.
Okay. You think so though? Because remember the Switch, dude. They didn't announce the Switch until January of the year it came out. Like less than 2 months before it came out. You remember that, right?
You're right. Yeah, you're right.
Because this is what I think Nintendo's doing. They just passed the PlayStation 4 in terms of total console sales recently, like last week, I think. They announced they've sold like 122 million or something like that. And I think they're gonna hold out as long as they possibly can before they announce the next console because they want to maximize Switch sales. And I think even when they announce the next console, I do think it's possible that they put it side by side with the Switch and not necessarily position it as a replacement per se. And I know that sounds risky because that would mean that games may need to still be made for the Switch, which would be the lowest common denominator, which might defeat the purpose of a new console. But I just think that they probably feel like the Switch is so powerful, like market wise, that they don't want to kill it too soon, right? Because the second they announce something new, I think sales are going to completely crater potentially, or have the potential to totally crater. So that's what I think they're going to do. I don't think they're going to announce anything until very late in the year or early next year, to be honest with you.
I mean, that makes sense. I mean, thinking about it more, that makes sense. I just think I understand you're trying to get it's all about the money. So I'm thinking about it in terms of money. In my mind, just announce it as a replacement, and you can say like all the games you have on the Switch you can play on this console too.
Yeah.
And yeah, your initial sales. Also, the price point needs to be good.
Yep.
Because we're starting to see a lot more people pick up the Steam Deck, and I feel like that's a good. You can look at the Steam Deck and look at it and be like, that's almost like a good profit margin to see where the sales are, because people want something more powerful in their hands. I'm not getting a Steam Deck.
Yeah,
but I'm not going to sit here and lie and say it doesn't look appealing to me. But that's because I want it to be an emulator slave. So I'm not even going to buy Steam games. I'm just going to fucking hack it.
You can already do that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm just going to hack it and then turn into an emulator slave.
I just 600, dude. It's just like 600. It's like
$600 to do that is crazy though.
Yeah, that's insane. I just right. I have a PC. Like I don't know. I'm not that desperate for it. It's like if I have $600 burning a hole in my pocket in a year or two, like sure, maybe I'll pick one up. But I'm not. I don't know. I don't have a use case for it in my life right now. It just be a thing that's like sitting on my desk most of the time.
So I think what they need to do, in my opinion, they need to lower the price of the Switch. I don't know how much it is now. How much is the Switch now?
The OLED's $350. Normal one's still $300, I think.
Yeah, they have to lower that. They have to like almost half that. They have to almost half that. They cut it in half.
You think?
I would say the normal version should cost at least $189.
Okay.
Yeah. The Switch Lite should be $150, and then the OLED should be $250.
Okay, I could see that. Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah. You squeeze out as much as you can by the end of the year. You do it for the Christmas bash. Everybody goes out and then if you
so
do
you
that,
announce those
right,
prices. You're saying they should announce those price drops before the holiday rush, before they announce the new console too, right?
Yes. Okay. Yes. You squeeze out as much as you can. I'm thinking about it in terms of like a businessman, not consumers, unfortunately.
Yeah.
God, look what the gaming was turning me into. But like, you squeeze out as much as you can. Parents are gonna buy it for Christmas. Uh, and then some kids may break their consoles or whatever. So you get the Christmas rush, and then in February, in my opinion, I don't think you should do it in January. I think you should do it February, March. You announce brand new Switch coming out, and then that Switch is not coming out until June, and then you give people time to save up money because they can buy that stuff in June. They can buy, and you have to have a game come with it. So you have to have, I mean, maybe Metroid Prime 4 be done or something. You got to have some kind of game, or you got to have like um I'm just gonna call it Switch 2. You gotta have a Switch 2 version of like Hyrule of Zelda, the new Zelda coming out. You gotta have a Switch 2 version of that coming out.
Yeah.
And you have to show a disparity. Or you have some kind of built-in back thing to where like we don't know it, right? But like all the games can be upscaled. Like I can play Xenoblade 3 on the new Switch undocked, and it still looked like I'm playing it on the fucking TV, you know? Because like Xenoblade 3 was like one of those games that showed the fucking this system's aging.
Yeah.
Pokemon the same way, right? Or you release a brand new version of Pokemon. So what was the new Pokemon called?
Scarlet Violet.
Scarlet and Violet. So what's a diamond in between that, or a color in between that? Scarlet, Violet, and
Crimson. I don't know.
Yeah, okay, let's go with that. Scarlet, Violet, and Crimson. You release Pokemon Crimson because I mean, let's be honest, that doesn't take that much work to fix all the bugs, or maybe it will. I don't know. But you upscale everything and everything like that, and you go, coming with the Switch 2 Scarlet fucking Crimson or some shit like that, and or I'm sorry, Pokemon Crimson. And this is the third version, how they do it, like Pokemon Red, Pokemon Blue, Pokemon Yellow, Crystal, for Silver and Gold, blah blah blah.
Yep.
Boom. And then you have first of all, your core audience is automatically they're gonna do it, right? They're gonna fucking buy that shit. So before you got all your money out, you got all your hardware out, because now the resale market for the Switch is going to be insane. You're going to have to mark down your original Switch because everyone's going to be marking down their Switch because they want to sell it. They're going to be like, I'm selling my Switch for like $100 or $150, whatever. You know what I'm saying? To buy the new Switch. So yeah, I mean, that's my take. I don't know. How do you feel about it?
Yeah, I think it's a solid idea, honestly. I think like I said, I think that's their focus this year. I think the rest of this year they're going to be trying to sell as many current gen Switches as possible. And I think we'll probably get another direct sometime in June or July. I expect for the remainder of the year. And then we probably won't hear from them until they're ready to announce the next console, whatever that is.
It
could
think
be January
Zelda
again. Like it really could. It could be January again, and honestly, they could release it in March, like at the 7-year anniversary of the Switch. I can totally see that. Honestly,
yeah, I can see Zelda being their last big hurrah, for the Switch, and then they just do a huge price drop.
Well, dude, think about it. Yeah, they have Fire Emblem to start the year. You have Zelda, then you have Pikmin. I mean, those are like big, fucking tentpole games for Nintendo.
Yep.
So what else could be left at this point? I can't see them having another game waiting in the wings. But maybe they do. Maybe Metroid's closer to ready than we think. Like that would be huge in the fall. Like October or something. But I would be surprised. I would certainly be surprised by that.
Super surprised by that.
So what else could it be?
I mean,
maybe a new Mario
they
game.
Did have Metroid Prime remastered ready to go, and we didn't know nothing about that shit.
Drop. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that didn't leak at all. I mean, yeah, but could we have a new Mario game? I mean, Odyssey, it's going to be 6 years in the fall since Odyssey came out. So
Jesus, I didn't realize that game was that old.
Yeah. Came out the same year as the console did.
I think so. I mean, I don't think the All-Star kind of I think All Stars left a sour taste in a lot of people's mouths for Mario, and
Yep.
Mario has a new movie coming out as well.
Mm.
They gotta have something that works for Mario.
Mm-hmm.
So
Could be a 2D Mario, maybe.
yeah, probably.
New Super Mario Brothers style, potentially. But yeah, there's got to be something though. Maybe a Star Fox game. Oh,
Yeah, right.
the dream.
I'll be 6'5" before that another Star Fox game comes out.
Oh my god, dude!
So
I'm dying for
I'm
Star
already
Fox.
34, so I'm not growing anymore.
I'm
So
fucking dying for a Star Fox game, man. Or
I am too, but I accepted that F-Zero and Star Fox are officially they're done.
and what about Smash Brothers? Do you think it's time, or you think they're just gonna keep milking out, the current one?
I think it's a Mario Kart 8 situation. They're just gonna keep milking it out. There's no reason for them to make another Smash Brothers right now.
I agree. I thought Smash Ultimate was it, dude. Like that, it's literally called Smash Ultimate. It has every character that's ever been in the fucking series. It's like I where do you go from there? You just keep adding characters like in stages. Like that's what you do. There's nothing. There's nowhere else to go for Smash. To me, that was always
Only
the
thing you
big
can
issue.
do with Smash, and I hate it, but it will work, is you go to a free to play model, and the people who already own Smash,
Mhm.
they get access to all the characters before.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, and then when you switch over to the free to play model, people who are new to it, they will have to just buy characters individually, and then they can still drop characters one by one.
Yeah, as good as Smash
That's
is, and how successful it's been as a franchise, I do think Nintendo has really squandered it in terms of like its potential. Because they could have made it a live service game a long time ago, and made it like, I'm not saying I want this, but this is what they could have done, and really focus on the competitive aspect of the community, because they've always neglected that in Smash, almost like resent the fact that it even exists at all, which I find bizarre. But it's like, dude, if you go in on that and like make the online really robust, like with ranked systems and tournaments and shit, and they just never done that with the franchise, and it's like, it's really frustrating. I think that's part of the reason why I've just fallen off the game, because if I don't have people to play with, like in the online's not robust, like what's even the point of playing the fucking game,
yeah.
for me, it's like the magic of Smash has long since left for me, to the point where I just play it to play it. It's like I'm not a kid anymore. Like I don't really do that with games. So
And I think that's what they were trying to hold on to be honest with you.
yeah,
They didn't want to go down a competitive route because they still wanted that
magic.
kid aspect. Yeah, that kid aspect magic to it. But I just think the series has evolved into what it is now,
Yeah,
which is not a bad thing or a good thing. And I think you can still play it as a party game. As long as you keep those features in as a party game, you can still do that. And you can still have a competitive side to it. I just think
yeah.
I think they rallied behind the wrong game to be their competitive game, which was Splatoon. And I know I'll probably get killed for that, but they rallied behind that
You're
game being their
totally
competitive game.
right. You're totally right. That is such a weird. They're so bizarre. I don't.
Yeah.
Some of the decisions, dude. They
They
don't. They
literally
don't
made that game.
understand. They don't understand the like live service multiplayer scene fucking at all. They've never
I'm
understood.
kind of glad they don't,
I
but at
know.
the
I
same time,
yeah.
even without live service, there's no reason you shouldn't have been able to support the community, the competitive community of Smash, the competitive community of Mario Kart. Like, there's no reason, and you can do your balancing different, right? You don't have to give in to what the pros are saying. Just balance the game the way you want to fucking balance the game,
Yeah.
or whatever, right?
Right.
And I think they give into they think they have to give into that pressure because like League does it and fucking Apex Legends does it and everything like that. You don't have to at all. People are still going to keep playing your fucking game, unless it's just something totally fucking broken. But I think that's why they're scared to get into it because they have to put money and time and infrastructure into building a robust server system and rollback net code and all this other shit like that. You have to build that up from the ground up, and I don't think the Switch is designed to handle it. To be honest with you,
Yeah, you're probably right. It's too complex for their networking to handle,
yeah,
probably. But yeah, man. I mean, talking about all these Nintendo games, man. We've been talking about this forever, but we actually need to get together and do like a fucking LAN, day where we just play like multiplayer shit, like Smash or Mario Party or Mario Kart or whatever. Because that sounds fun, and I haven't done that in so long. I do miss Nintendo, those like multiplayer Nintendo games. But all right, let us move on. We did get a question this week from Dat Dude, and his question to us is: what is one of your favorite gaming memories growing up? You want to go first? You want me to take it?
You can take it.
So this one's weird. Because I'm actually going to talk about something on the edge of what I would consider childhood, because it's not really childhood. I was a teenager. But because we were just talking about Nintendo games and Nintendo multiplayer, and there was a period of my life. There was one summer in high school where me and a group of friends, there was like 4 of us total, and it was the perfect number of people actually, because Nintendo games were 4 people multiplayer, 4-player multiplayer, where we were going over this one kid's house every single day for like an entire summer. And we would show, dude, I'd wake up. You know me, right? I'm a fucking night owl. I've like always been a night owl, but dude, like when I'm motivated, I can get up. I would wake up at 8 a.m. and walk to this kid's house, and it was like a 30 to 45-minute walk, probably, like across the city. And I'd walk to this kid's house, show up at his house around 8:30 to 9, somewhere in that range. And dude, we'd all show up, and we plug in the fucking the GameCube, and bro, we were just playing multiplayer games. We were playing Smash, we were playing Mario Kart, we were playing all like Mario Party, whatever the fuck. Usually it was Smash. Smash was like the big game for us, but we just did that for like a whole summer, and it is honestly, it's like one of my favorite memories in gaming, period, because it was so pure, like we all just wanted to play, and that was it, man. It was so good. It was funny too, because he wasn't supposed to be having us over. The friend, like, we weren't supposed to be going to his house. Like, his mom did not know we were coming over, and we would literally go hide in his closet, bro. Like, we did crazy shit like this. His little brother would be there the whole time. He'd be watching his brother, and he was in on it. So like we would let him play with us sometimes if he didn't say anything. Like if he didn't tell his mom. So his mom would come home around 3. So we would go hide in the closet, and then she'd come home, and then she'd talk to her kids for a little bit. But she had she worked 2 jobs. She was a single mother. So she would be there for maybe 20 minutes, and she would literally like get dressed for the next job and go to the next job. So she would be gone after that. So like we were in we were in this woman's house for hours and hours. She may have known, but she might not have known. And she it's like, so it's hilarious in retrospect. But it was just a really fun time. That's like one of the things it's one of the fond memories I think of a lot, actually, because I don't talk to any of those people anymore. I like, we stopped hanging out after high school, but it was just it was a unique time that was, like, I've never had an experience like that since. I mean, I guess it's kind of similar to what we do now. We kind of hang out on Discord every night, but it's not that thing though. We're not like going somewhere and like meeting together, So
Yeah.
that was pretty fun. I have one more actually I want to mention before I give it over to you too. I had a similar experience a few years after that, where I have a friend. I'm still friends with him now, actually. He's not a big gamer, but was really into the Metal Gear Solid series,
Mm-hmm.
and he had played 1 through 4. And at that point in my life, I had never played Metal Gear Solid. And this is actually the only time I've ever played these games, by the way. So I have not played them since. And this was a couple years after the first summer I was mentioning. I think I was in college. Yeah, I think it was like my first or second year of college. And I went over to this dude's house for like a month straight, and all we did, day and night, is I was just grinding through the Metal Gear Solid games. Like I was playing and he was watching me play them, and I played 1 through 4 in like the course of a month. And it was fucking awesome. So, yeah, there's some fun like gaming binge moments in my life that man, they were super fun. But what about you, dude? What do you got?
I actually have several as well. First is me and my stepfather and my father. Um, we would have 100 match sessions of us playing either Soul Blade.
Man.
First to start off with Soul Blade,
Yeah.
and then my mom used to play Soul Blade with us, so we used to do that. We used to have like a little family tournament every Friday
Mhm.
for Soul Blade, and then it evolved to like Soul Calibur. And then
Mhm.
when Dead or Alive came out, my brother stopped really playing video games with me and my dad like that, and
Yeah.
me and my dad were just playing video games with each other. Um, and we would have like 100 match like sessions where we would just keep playing Dead or Alive too. Like we just keep going back and forth, back and forth, back and
Mhm.
forth with each
Mhm.
other.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. I just really he didn't have to do that shit with me. I learned years later that he actually didn't like video games. He was just doing it to spend time with us, which is cool. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
so that was like that's a fond memory. I just remember us playing like the family game nights was like really cool because we played Super
Mm.
Smash Brothers, we played uh Mario Kart and everything. Like the
Oh,
N64 was being overused in
that's
in
awesome.
our fucking family.
Yeah.
On Fridays, like
Yeah.
we'll get pizza and everything like that. So
Mhm.
we'll rent a game as well and try that rented game. And then if the rented game didn't turn out to be cool, then we'll just go right back to playing like Diddy Kong Racing, all
Ooh,
those games, man. We play all
man.
those games.
Oh, that's awesome, dude. Diddy Kong.
Yeah,
Yes. Yeah.
yeah. So that's one memory. It's not like one particular memory. It's just like a whole cluster of a time period for me. Second one is I remember my cousin. I used to be dead ass scared of video games, and my cousin used to play like all these scary games. And
Yeah.
I just remember one of them called Nightmare Creatures, and that
Mm.
game scared the living shit out of me. But I watched him play it, and I don't know. I just like watching him play the games because I was too scared. I was too much of a bitch to play the games. He's actually the one that got me into like Resident Evil and everything like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, uh, but like, yeah, I used to just sit there and watch him play these video games. I used to just watch him play,
Mhm.
and I never played them, but I watch them. And sometimes, like to go over my cousin's house at the time, uh, I was staying with my grandma. It was like a weird situation. I was young, but like I couldn't play certain video games because she wouldn't let me play certain video games. So I'd go
Mhm.
over there and then watch him play these video games.
Yeah.
So like I don't know, I just learned a lot of video game stuff from him and then watching him play and everything like that. And yeah, it was really cool. Um and then I guess another memory for me was like I had this weird period where I used to wake up. I just got my car, so I would wake up at like 5 o'clock in the morning to play video games before I went to school,
Mm.
and I beat Fable like that. Uh,
That's
I would
awesome.
wake up and I would just play Fable in the morning.
Young degenerate Montrell.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would just
Yeah.
play Fable in the morning, and I don't know, it was just really cool um to do.
Mhm.
I don't know, it was just I also remember the summertime just being like this one time where I would just play video games
Uh-huh.
and
Oh yeah.
I would just play them to like the max, like
Absolutely.
go to the
Yeah.
absolute ends of the earth. Like I remember I played Digimon World 2 I played so many hours of it that the clock maxed out at 9999 and I
Yeah.
was still playing it. Um it was just it was insane. And it was also this weird this is not necessarily
Yeah.
a childhood moment, but I was like young. I was still in like my teens. I discovered online gaming. So I discovered how we just got DSL at my grandma's house
Mm.
and
Mm. Mhm.
I started hooking up my PS2
Yeah.
uh to online and I discovered Monster Hunter. And I remember me and my brother were spending fucking hours. Like we had two
Yeah.
PS2s
Yeah.
downstairs, you had two TVs, and we found out how to use a fucking router and I bought like a little switch hub. I went to Radio Shack or whatever, bought a hub, and then we found out how to do that shit, and we hooked it up,
The
and we
beginning
were
of
like,
Montrell's IT career, man.
yeah.
That's
And we
awesome.
were playing fucking Monster Hunter 1 for fucking hours on the PS2, like hours.
Yeah.
And then I was playing, and then he stopped playing video games like that, but I was still playing like SOCOM. I played like Resident Evil Outbreak and all these early old ass PS2 online games that were very fucking shitty at the time, but like at the time were fucking amazing to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I loved it. Like it was it was a cool moment. And then I'm sorry. And this is other moment when we didn't have the money to pay for Xbox Live, like, because I didn't have a
Yeah.
credit card or whatever. And
Yeah,
my
yeah.
mom and dad were like, yo, we're not about to give you money to play Xbox Live or whatever. They might steal our credit card. This is when like online shit, y'all, was like very, very scary for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So me and my brother discovered this way to play Halo 2 online for free, and it was called Xbox Connect. You had to hook your Xbox up to the computer through a router, and then you connect on the computer through a server, and it was like a peer-to-peer host thing that
Yeah.
somebody had,
Yeah.
and it was called Xbox Connect. And then you join a lobby, and then they'll appear in your multiplayer game or whatever. If you go into like the ad hoc mode of the Xbox or whatever, because you remember they had system links where you can system link everything up, but you're using the computer as a system link that was connecting to a lobby, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Because Xbox, you can connect like up to 8 Xboxes with each other to play system LAN parties and everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
So we were doing that, and we were playing Xbox Connect, which was like the bootleg. It was literally the bootleg version of Xbox Live, and we were playing like Halo 2 online and shit like that. And it was laggy as fuck. We were having so much fun, playing like infection games and all that bullshit like that. So I don't know, shit was crazy. We were like 16 or 17 at the time. It was very fucking fun. I don't know.
Yeah, so you kind of inspired me while you were talking. I have a few more myself. So the first one I want to bring up is I was like really young. This one's from the 90s. Is I was probably like, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 maybe. Is a game called Atomic Bomberman. I think I've mentioned this game on the show before. This is the most insane Bomberman game that's ever been created. But there's some multiplayer, like a local multiplayer Bomberman game where the Bombermans would there'd be anywhere between 4 and 8, I think, or maybe even 10, or 12 even, I think. You could play at the same time, and the AI, the rest would be AI controlled, however many players there weren't. But the Bomberman, like, when you died, you would get literally fucking incinerated. Like, your body would get incinerated. Like, their like skeleton would be showing, and then it would like burn up, and you'd just be a pile of ashes on the ground with like eyeballs. It was hilarious. It was fucking hilarious. This game was like crazy. Me, my brother, and my dad played this game. There was a period of time. We didn't play it for very long. It was kind of like a supernova for us, but there was a period where we were playing it every night, and it was hilarious every night. We are fucking laughing our asses off at this game, like killing each other, murdering each other. It's just so funny. So that was one game. The other one I wanted to mention was Warcraft 3. There was 2 summers, because when you were talking about summer, it reminded me like how deep in I went on Warcraft 3. Warcraft 3 is one of my favorite games ever, but the reason for that is there was 2 summers when I was in middle school when the game came out, 2002 and then 2003 when the Frozen Throne came out, the expansion, where I was up this game's ass every day. I played it all the time. It was like as much as I could play it. I didn't have my own computer. I used my dad's computer to play, but it was like when he wasn't home, like when he was at work, I would play on his computer all day, and I was just fucking playing Warcraft, dude. And it was such a fun time for me, because that was my introduction to online gaming was Warcraft 3. And I made so many online friends in that game. Mostly people I don't talk to anymore, but it's a game that like really introduced me to the online world and like what it could really be to like mean to be online. And funnily enough, that game, I didn't directly meet my wife through it, but I met somebody who introduced me to my wife now in that game. So it's a special game to me for multiple reasons.
That's really cool.
But so there was that one, and then I got 2 more real quick. Is we similarly had a kind of love affair with N64, me, my brother, and my dad. This was way later though. like way after N64 came out, like 10 years later. I'm talking like mid 2000s. We were playing Mario Party. Like we had a thing going with Mario Party for a long time, on and off for like a few years, where the three of us would play Mario Party. And we played the ones on N64, but we also played the ones on GameCube as well. We played like all of them. And it's some of my fondest memories because just the level of like, dude, it was like playing League. The level of toxicity that would come out from playing Mario Party was so fucking funny, dude. Like, because I would always win. Like, I was the one that always won. My brother and my dad were just so infuriated because the game is so predicated on luck, like a lot of the time. But I almost always won. It was like it's so dumb. But they would get so mad at me, but then they started getting mad at each other because my dad would do something where he would steal a star from like my brother Josh. And my brother would lose his fucking mind. He'd be like, "Justin's in first fucking place. Why are you stealing from me?" And it would be because, like I had some protection against like getting a star stolen, so I didn't want to waste the money. Like he felt like it would be a better play to like steal from somebody else. So it's just like the toxic fighting that would result. It was great shit. And then the last thing I want to mention is similarly with my dad, I had a kind of, especially in my teens, I played a lot of games with him, just him. And there was a lot of games we played, like Civilization was kind of a big one for us, actually, like Civ 4 for a long time. But the biggest one, and the one that's like literally my favorite game of all time, I've played thousands of hours of this game. I probably played this game more than any other game ever, is Heroes Might and Magic 3. And I've mentioned this on the show before, but this was just a special game for us. We could literally, up until he died, like him and I could just sit down, boot this game up, start a map, and just go anytime. It did not fucking matter, dude. Like what part of our lives we were in, like this was just a game. Him and I, like, together, we like bonded together with it. And I love this game. Like I play it every once in a while. I was playing it last year, kind of around the time he died. It always seems to like come into my mind around that time. I did fall off it a bit, but it's still in my brain. I want to go back to it and finish those campaigns because it's just such a special game. Like it is one of the best strategy games ever made. It might be the best strategy game ever made, and I adore it, But I those memories that I have, like, will always be with me, no matter what I'm playing, what part of my life I'm in. It's an important game for me, and honestly, when I do have kids someday, it is a game I'm going to introduce to them. Whether they pick up on it or not in the same way, we'll see. But I'm absolutely going to play it with them, and at least try to make a similar connection, because I like, to this day, I miss that. I really do, because I would go back every year, like go visit, and him and I would always spin up a game. We might not finish it by the end of the week, but we would always spin up a game and like start playing it in the evenings, after we come back from whatever activity we were doing during the day. So yeah, some good stuff. That was a really good question, Dad, dude. I didn't expect us to have so many things to talk about, but gaming it's special to us for different reasons, but I think we all probably have similar experiences to like what Montrell and I just talked about. So it's good stuff, man. Anything else, Montrell, you have? Or
nah, I can go on for hours on this.
Yeah, I could too. We could do a whole fucking podcast probably on memories like that. But yeah, let's move on. So we got one more thing. We didn't cover this last week because we were kind of in a little bit of a rush, but I do want to mention it real quick. Is we did guess the Metascore a couple weeks ago for Hogwarts Legacy. Montreal guessed 8.5. I guess 8.6. Looking at the current scores for the game, it's split between 3 platforms, but PS5 is at an 84, PC's at an 83, and then Xbox Series X is at a 90. So I think we kind of nailed it, honestly. If you kind of average those out, you're going to be around 8.5, 8.6 probably. We hit that one pretty much on the nose. But
so the Switch version comes out and then everything drops. So.
Yeah, fair enough. I'm trying to look and see if there's anything coming out the next week that would be worth doing this for. And not really. Octopath Traveler 2, the Horizon VR game. Oh, that one already has scores. Never mind. We can't do that one. Yeah, not really seeing anything worth doing, but we'll keep an eye out. All right. Well, Montrell, that's all we had this week. Anything else you want to talk about before we call it an episode?
Nope, that's it.
All right, fair enough. So for those of you who haven't listened, for those of you who like this episode, please like the episode, review the show, subscribe to the show on whatever feed you are listening to it on, and please share it with your friends. If you'd like to interact with us on Twitter, you can do so at iTrapForTheHokage for Montrell. That is the number 4, not the word. I'm at ThunderNut01, and the show is at The Player's Take. If you'd like to send us a question, you can do so on Twitter, or you can send us an email to playerstake01@gmail.com. And that is going to be it for us, guys, this week. We hope you enjoyed this episode, and we will see you next week. Bye.